How many times have you seen the movie?
Well, so far I've only seen it once, but I was gonna go see it tomorrow. I'm trying to get a
Uh,
bunch of friends to go see it tomorrow for a matinee. How many times have you seen it?
3 times. I've
Good,
seen it.
good for you,
Yeah.
man.
I want to see it again in 3D. I was like curious, like 3D. I have to give myself a reason to go see it again. And so 3D is like different enough.
Well, that was there was when The Force Awakens came out, I saw it in 3D. I saw it in IMAX. I saw it in it's every version they had out. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna go see it just so I could because I was trying to because it was episode 7. I was
Yeah.
trying to see it 7 times in the theater, and I wanted to make the experience as different as possible every time.
Hey
Yeah.
guys, welcome to the review show. My name's Austin and welcome. So we're gonna get into some Deadpool spoilers. We were gonna do the Acolyte, but we just never really got around to it. And I'd rather just talk about this. Anyways, Acolyte would have been painful. I did do it for this month's podcast with Carson. So we got into a small little spoilers talk, but not as big of a depth as I wanted to rip that show apart because screw that show in many different ways. But we're going to talk about something way better and that Disney can still make some good stuff. Or is this more than Fox than Disney?
No, this is
Uh,
all this is remember Disney bought Fox,
yeah, I know.
so they own Fox now. So, Kevin Feige's finger was all in the mix on this. But it was mostly Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy's baby,
Yeah.
and they gave them free reign to do what they want. I think that Kevin Feige understood during this process because there's pictures of him on set and everything. He understood the assignment, which was to pay homage to the movies that were made under the 20th Century Fox label and kind of put that to rest in a nice way. And I
Yeah.
think that that's really what it came down to.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going into. It's like, all right, this is going to be more like people are getting sick and tired of the multiverse stuff, and it's like I want the mutant saga already. I want to see X-Men in the
Yes.
MCU, and so like, and we have to get through Avengers Doomsday, which I'm kind of looking forward to with RDJ, as Doctor Doom. But I'm just sick and tired of the multiverse stuff. But when you look at this as a whole, I think this is a lot more fun and at least more put together as a multiverse movie than what we've gotten in the past. I think I like this more than Spider-Man No Way Home. Not to discredit Spider-Man No Way Home. I think No Way Home probably has a better story than this, and we'll get into why I think this story is a little iffy. But when you look back at No Way Home, there was a lot of scenes, and it comes to, I guess, spoilers for No Way Home. If you guys haven't seen it, what are
Yeah,
you
if you
doing?
haven't seen it, right?
Um, a lot of the scenes when Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire would first show up, like it's like this when you watch it in the big screen, like everyone's cheering, but when you rewatch it back by yourself, it's kind of like this just awkward shot of the actor just standing there waiting for you to stop cheering. It's the next they move on. Here, it's like, oh, there's that actor, and the movie still keeps going, and you're kind of getting more now annoyed that people are cheering, and then you can't hear the movie, but. So I think on rewatch values, especially at your own house, will have a better impact later than No Way Home did. Still a great movie, but
Yeah,
that's kind of like,
I agree 100%. I liked No Way Home, but again, like I understand those pauses when the reveals happen, but this movie had reveals but didn't have to pause, and the pacing. But again, I feel like that's the pacing of a Deadpool movie is very it's just as ADHD as like Ryan Reynolds' character
yeah.
is. So I
And
think, yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, and this one's better. And in my review, I said this is my favorite Deadpool film out of the three because I think this one's put together, besides the story wise, way better than the other two because the other two dealt with a lot of flashbacks. Be like, hey, all right, you're wondering how we got into this moment, flashback, and it's like, okay, I get it. I no, but so I just this one just and it definitely has a bigger budget over the other two for sure. And so I just like this one way more. I find it way more funny, and I could honestly just forget about the story. I just never really,
Yeah, I mean again, like so many of these Marvel movies now are dependent on you either having Disney Plus and watching the other TV series to understand what the TVA is, and you had to have watched, season 1 and 2 of Loki,
yeah,
or and I think that if you didn't, you might have come into this going, huh? But
yeah,
once Deadpool starts, all that plot stuff is out the window.
I think they
because
handled the TVA stuff pretty well. It's like we control the sacred timeline, which is the MCU. There you go. Plot. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, really, that's it. I mean, the idea that you needed another Wolverine in order to keep that timeline going the way it was
Yeah, we're
and
gonna get
everything.
we're getting into that because I actually have quite a question for that one. That brings up a lot of plot, at least a certain plot hole. But yeah, no, I found it I found it interesting what they did, but it's kind of made you ask some questions like, wait, what? Well, so, but we'll get into it. So, if spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie, what are you doing? Go out and see it.
Absolutely. Go
Yeah,
see Deadpool Wolverine, man. It's great.
yeah, it's already at almost at $1 billion, and do not wait until streaming. I'm sick and tired of people like, oh, we'll get it until streaming.
Well, I
That's
think Disney's gotten the memo. I mean, they left Inside
inside
Out
out.
2
Uh,
for a 90-day, 3-month run in the theater. And I think all their movies are now 100 days is what the goal is for all Disney movies when they drop. They're going to leave them in for 100 days.
yeah,
And it's paying off because what they're seeing is if you don't make it all on the first weekend, these movies do have legs because they're good stories. So, but this one is just catapulting, I mean, it's made money, I think, quicker than No Way Home got to
pro-
$1 billion.
probably, but I think No Way Home had a bigger opening, I think, and it had a more of a bigger drop off on the second weekend, I think, as
Okay.
well. So which is kind of strange to see when this one's rated R and this one and that one's PG-13, and you still have kids going to see this one with their parents, and actually probably have a lot of upset parents like, "Wow, how dare you?" It's like, did you not notice that was rated R?
I
That's
mean,
like,
just the credit roll in the beginning, and
yeah,
minus the NSYNC song, which is now like burned into my brain because it's every time you go on TikTok or every time you go
yeah.
on Twitter, it's everything is just bye, bye, bye. Like you can't get enough of the, and it's just seeing Deadpool do his thing. It's the marketing behind this movie is just unbelievable. Which is something I
Yeah.
feel a lot of the other. Oh yeah, you got the
Yeah.
yeah, you got this. That's great. Did you see the alien head
Yeah.
they're getting for Alien Romulus?
Yeah, is that Cinemark or Regal that has it?
Uh I don't know. I just saw a picture of it online. I thought it was really cool. Um,
I'm
but
gonna go to the AMC one because it's just the metal tint, but it comes with a detached face hugger on the side of it. So I
oh,
want
that's
that one.
cool. Yeah, I've
But
got an AMC in my town, so I might have to check out that one for that. Uh, but going back to this movie, let's talk about you want to talk about the cameos?
yeah, I mean, let's start from the beginning and I guess go through it.
Yeah,
Like you brought up the opening. Really like this opening. I think this is probably the best opening in all three Deadpool films.
absolutely.
Um, and it's and that song, which is now top 20 on Spotify, just because of this movie. Um, a lot of people, I guess, were upset that it wasn't Ryan Reynolds doing the dancing, but it's like he's like how old is
Oh,
he? Like 50? Um,
yeah, but he even said something like I can't dance. And
yeah,
so but I love that a guy auditioned for it. We've all seen on social media his audition and that he got cast and then the behind the scenes. I Every time I look at it, like the actual clip,
it does.
I don't
Yeah,
register that it's somebody else.
he
And I
has the
mean
same sculpt almost.
yeah, and I think the mask has that built-in face thing that like anyone could put the mask on and look like Deadpool. But one of the things about that is you look at the show like The Mandalorian. I think in the last season, Pedro Pascal only did voiceover work, and
Yeah,
everything was done by 3 stunt guys. So it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're in a mask and you're wearing a full costume, as long as they again, stunt guys have to have the mannerisms
of the actor.
of the actor and to study, and it's a symbiotic relationship between them, and you can see that even in the Indiana Jones films. The stunt guys
Darth
have to
Vader.
have the Darth Vader. You have to
Yeah.
have that in there. But I love the opening sequence. The idea that they didn't really ruin Logan,
They
like they left that as its own thing, although
yeah. But when you
doing what
think
they did to the grave was kind of sacrilegious, but
yeah,
seeing the bones with the animatium or how do you pronounce that again? It's
uh
I always screw it
I
up
think it's
even though I've known it my whole life.
I would screw it up. It's like adamantium. Adam
Adamant, yeah, I don't know.
uh
the bottom line is it
Yeah.
all the bones are like covered, and then he was able to use the bones to fight the guys. But the beauty about Ryan Reynolds comedy is that, he even, like, when he did the thing with the jaw and he made it talk, he did it
Yeah.
as an Australian accent, like not only breaking the fourth wall, but breaking it that it's Hugh Jackman, not like the character of Wolverine. And
Yeah.
like, if you have to be so sharp to get everything he's saying in that opening sequence, you know,
You have
um,
to understand from the beginning that this is the character that will break the fourth wall. If you don't, you're like, wait, why is he making these type of jokes? Which, if you haven't seen the first two, then why are you seeing this one? Maybe some
yeah.
people that never saw the first two, but seen all the other X-Men films and they like Hugh Jackman, they'll probably go and see it. That's probably what you're also getting. But at the same time, I feel like you would want to see the other two before you see this one. I don't think
Yeah.
any really story continued over. I mean, like characters' names were
I
dropped, but nothing
I
like
mean,
story wise.
it is odd, though, I will say, story wise, that his girlfriend, the character of Vanessa,
Yeah,
is still like on the fence about him after the first two movies, and
she
like,
got killed, and it's
it's
like,
like, okay, like, but I thought they were in love with you. I don't know. But in the end, you're not going to see it for the
no,
total story, I mean, you're going to see Ryan Reynolds blow things up, kill things,
more
and
the story of the between him and Wolverine, which I actually really liked. I liked that Wolverine just like just calls him out for a lot of stuff,
Oh, it
and
was yin and yang. I think the most powerful scene was that scene with Hugh Jackman in the car when he just lit him up,
yeah,
that scene where he's, says something like, "I've been around for over 200 years," and
yeah, and
and
that's saying
and
a lot,
uh,
and yeah, it's saying a lot because
unbelievable.
yeah. So yeah, the opening scene was a lot of fun. And next we cut back to Wade that somehow gets to our universe, the MCU universe, with I guess
Yeah.
it's with
The 616 timeline.
yeah, with what's his name? Josh Brolin's character. It's not Josh Brolin. It's like the time device at the end of Deadpool 2. Cable.
Cable. Yeah, that's
Somehow
Josh
he can
Brolin.
use that to get over there, I guess. This is a weird little cameo from Happy, which I thought was funny, but it's like when you then again, when you start thinking about these things, like how does that work? But at the end
Right.
of Deadpool 2, he does hop between universes like with X-Men Origins and X also he shoots himself uh in our world before he takes the part of Green Lantern. Like that he gives that movie a lot of crap, which I find funny.
And then I think the timeline that he is in is the 1005,
Yeah.
the 10005
But I thought, like,
timeline.
from my understanding with the other Deadpool films, it's supposed to probably be separate from that. But this movie clarifies, like, no, this is in the same universe as the other X-Men films. So when you think about when he needs to find a Wolverine, it's like, okay, well, just go back to your main because Logan takes place in 2029 and he's in 2024. So it's like
That's right.
go grab your still alive Wolverine. But if he does that, then he might break the fourth wall by telling him, hey, you might die. So maybe that's why they don't do that. So like
Right,
a little
right.
plot holes there. So but
And then
again,
the other thing is, like, Daphne Keene, who played X-23, she makes an appearance in the film. And the question is, what did she do? Because remember, when you're sent to the void, um, this area where all the rejects go, or the people that cause trouble in their timelines,
yeah,
what did X-23 do at her age going forward in that time, the Logan timeline, to
yeah,
be thrown into the void? I think
maybe
that
trying to
they never answer that question.
yeah, maybe she
I mean,
tried to
but what
bring
did
back
Johnny
Logan.
Storm do? What did Johnny Storm? What did Gambit do? Like, what did Blade do to get thrown in the void? Like,
They wanted to forget about those movies. That's what that happened. It's like
yeah,
trying to erase those terrible films. I mean, the Blade movie. I
I
only
don't
seen the
think. Look,
first one.
dude,
I
dude,
only
the
yeah.
Blade trilogy of films is perfect. It's
Okay.
really good. We owe a lot of credit to them. We wouldn't have any of the modern day Marvel films if it really wasn't for those Blade movies, and they were all solid. There was nothing wrong with any one of those films. And
The
even
only thing
having
I
Ryan Reynolds in the third one,
yeah
Blade Trinity, was a really good added bonus because he brought a different flavor that kind of changed up the film.
yeah. Oh, I
They had
heard that
director's problems.
they bumped heads him and Ryan.
I think it was
or is
more,
that made of?
it was a director issue. I think it was
Oh,
a
okay.
direct, I think they had problems with the director and they weren't seeing the same movie and they didn't get along, but I don't believe there was any real animosity towards them. Um, you know, I don't believe so.
Hmm.
In the end, the movie was successful. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
Uh,
okay. So I'm more skipping around with all these cameos, but all right.
yeah.
So he goes and he's on the hunt for the a Wolverine, and
Yes.
he runs into all these different Wolverines from different timelines to try to recruit them to come with him. But then he's realizing, no, this isn't the one I want. This isn't the one I want. And
I like the short Wolverine one is like, you don't even know that he's short yet. It's like a close up of Hugh Jackman and it's like
right.
who's asking and next it drops and it's just like really short. And it's so funny.
Well,
I
but
think
the thing is, in the comic books, there was
well yeah,
always like Wolverine was never tall. He was
no.
never as tall as Hugh Jackman.
He's
He
like
would
Tom
never be as
Cruise.
tall as Cavalrine, Henry
No.
Cavill.
He-
He was always short. Yeah,
yeah.
Superman, the only Superman. Next to Christopher Reeve. Anyway, well, that's another conversation. But he sees all these different Wolverines that happen to be like comic book covers or the one with the brown suit, the eye patch one, kind of
Yeah.
doing the James Bond gambling, and then he gets him right in the face. I love all the different
Old man Logan.
old man Logan on the porch, they paid so much attention to detail that the regular general audience that is not an X-Men comic book reader would not get any of it, but it's so satisfying to everyone else.
I think they still find it funny. They might not like pick up like that where these cues are coming from, and but they might find it funny. I know that a lot of at least I know some comic book people are upset that we're not getting a Wolverine versus Hulk yet. Like they probably when they saw Hulk pop in there, they
I think
expect
that
like
was
a
the
fight.
closest we were going to get
I don't
is
think we're
that.
ever gonna. Yeah, I don't think
I
we're
don't
ever
think
gonna
we're
get
ever going to see it. Although
because
Hugh Jackman
Universal.
has said he would like to fight the Hulk.
Yeah,
Yeah, publicly.
maybe Secret Wars, but again, like I don't know what Universal and Disney's agreement is. I think they can use Hulk whenever they want. They just Universal would just get a paycheck out of it. Just buy the character. Just I don't get it.
Well, I
They
mean, but it's the same thing with Sony and Spider-Man. Like
well,
Sony had an op,
Sony's not going to give up Spider-Man. That's the
but you know
problem.
that Sony had all of them.
Yeah,
Like, and then they gave away all of them except Spider-Man. They kept because they thought that was the only one that could make money. They had no idea. They didn't think Captain America was a thing. They didn't think Iron Man was going to work. And they said, "Oh, we just want Spider-Man." And they gave all the rights to all the rest of them away. And look what happened. Bam!
yeah.
Here we are.
And now that we got their disconnected little universe that is almost hopefully over. That's
And the only reason why they keep making them, whether it's Madam Web or
isn't it
whether
like a contract deal?
it's if they don't do anything with it, they lose the rights.
Yeah.
So that's why they keep cranking out these low
So
grade movies.
they don't want to do it. It seems like, but they seem like they have to. Besides Spider-Man wise,
Right.
and so, but they since now their Spider-Man is connected with the MCU, they have to follow the MCU timeline and release on their schedule as well, and it doesn't
Yeah.
work out for them. So it's like crap. Well, let's make Venom, but only PG-13. But we 2 years later we'll do
Venom. Oh,
Craven rated R. It's like why now you can do rated R stuff.
well, you are now. Yeah. I mean, look at this. You can do rated R stuff, like, although I get a little, I'm on the fence with all the rated R movies, although Deadpool is a whole different thing altogether. But, originally, comic books were for people, but also for kids. And if you're
Yeah.
going to sell these toys in the toy stores, you can't have them dropping F-bombs.
No.
It's just something that I'm not a big fan of the cursing. That's why I hated that, James Gunn pushed to have that one F-bomb dropped in Guardians of the Galaxy because he was able to make three really great movies and didn't have to do that. But he wanted to be the first one to claim he dropped an F-bomb, which he
Uh
wasn't. I mean, if you
no.
go back to Deadpool, he was the first guy to do it for a Marvel movie.
Maybe for MCU wise, he probably is the first one that's maybe that he was talking about,
I
but
don't look at it as a thing, a separate
no, yeah,
thing. It's
it's
all the
all
same
together.
thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as
And if
long
anything proves that it's all the same thing, it's this movie right here.
yeah.
So,
I don't have a problem with it as long it has a purpose. And I think Venom is a character that should have been rated R from the beginning. It's just
Yeah, again, there's always an executive up there going, but the kids, how do we got to get it PG-13 or we're going to lose half the audience. And
what
now they
what
might
movie
be
we're
getting
talking
the
about. A lot of kids went and saw this movie, so it doesn't matter.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so uh
So he's on the hunt for the different Wolverines, and then he
yes.
finally finds the Wolverine that he wants, and sees him in a bar. And it's the classic, right? It's the classic, you got to come with me,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And
It's almost similar to the Wolverine game that we're gonna get, like that one shot with Logan in the bar. I don't know if you know about the Wolverine game that it's coming out. I think next year.
I didn't know about that,
Yeah,
but it's very similar to what was the one the X-Men when they found him in the bar when they did the kind of the soft reboot with the younger versions of
oh,
themselves,
first
and they
class.
went first
Yeah.
class. They go to recruit him, and he's like, you know,
Uh,
F
fuck off.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
He
at the
goes like, go
bar.
fuck yourself. And
Yeah.
so I found that cameo funny. And but here he's more of a broken character. Like I think that's like every Wolverine is mostly like a broken character. And they make fun of his like claws that when it come out, it's like, oh, whiskey claws.
Whiskey dick, whiskey
Eh,
claws. Yeah.
It's like that's it. That happens to the over the age of 40 with every Wolverine. And so he brings back that Wolverine to the TVA, which gets them both sent into the to the void. But during the TVA stuff, we find out that there's an anchor being, which makes things a little bit more confusing. But in the Fox universe, Logan was that anchor being, mostly probably because he was the more focus point in that universe. So it's like, all right, make him the anchor being. And next, when an anchor being dies, the universe starts dying. And so it's like, I wish
It's a
that they
very
kind of,
neat concept.
yeah, I like that concept. I just wish they like, maybe talked about it a little bit more to give more of like more of a reasoning of the
Yeah,
anchor being.
because it was never brought up in Loki. It was never brought up anywhere, and now everyone's speculating who's the anchor being in the MCU timeline. Is it Spider-Man? Was
Tony.
it Iron? It couldn't have been Tony Stark because he's dead now. So
Yeah.
that universe would have dissolved if it was the
Well,
616.
they
So I
said
don't know.
it takes over a couple thousand years. So
Okay.
so if anything, it could have been someone else early on in the timeline that passed away. And it's like, all right, now it's just like now the time is clicking, or it could have been Tony or etc. So it just brings up a lot of these questions. And it's like, well, what if it was like this random non-person? It's like, I don't know, one of us as an anchor being. It's like so it brings up that type of questions. But I like the idea of it. It's just I wish that they touched on it a tiny bit more. It just seemed like they needed a reason why to bring back Wolverine, just for a specific reason. But so they get sent in the void because Paradox, who is running this part of the TVA, Deadpool is about to expose them for quickening up the time process, and
Right.
with that. And so, and next we get this is where we get the trailer shots with Wolverine and Deadpool fighting, which is a lot of fun. I like this fight scene between them. Uh, and next we get a interesting cameo from Chris Evans, which this is one of the cameos I said, like, I don't know how they kept this one hidden from the public. Like this would have been one that would have 100% got leaked.
They did
Um,
an amazing job with the leaks on this thing.
no,
And
like
then
I heard that they
it
made up lies to keep stuff hidden.
I didn't follow it as closely for leaks and all.
Yeah.
I got screwed on TikTok. I went on TikTok the day the movie was released, and I was scrolling, and all of a sudden I see, you know, Chris Evans being hugged by Deadpool, and I was like,
Oh,
oh, and I went past it. I was like, oh my God. And so, that kind of ruined it. But so then I was like, oh, I don't want to know anything else, blah, blah.
yeah.
And then I talked to a friend of mine, and he had told me a couple of the cameos because, I just was like, well, tell me. Cause then I start getting excited. But to see them, Chris Evans was great.
Yeah.
And the whole idea where you thought it was Captain America, And how did Captain America get in the void? And then you find out it's
It's
flame on.
yeah,
That's
it's Johnny Storm, which is hilarious. Which it's like, because I don't think Chris Evans ever wants to come back as Captain America, but I think he is like, if it's a different character, he's up for it.
yeah.
And so Johnny Storm was probably that interest him. I think he likes the Fantastic Four movies. I don't know his experience on those.
I mean, it put him on the map, one of his earlier films that put him on the map.
Yeah,
He was in quite a few, but that one really catapulted him in the whole comic book realm. So,
yeah.
yeah,
And but during this whole entire process, we had Pyro, which is the same actor from the X-Men films that show up. We have Sabretooth, but it's not the one from X-Men Origins, it's the one from the first X-Men.
yeah.
And Toad showed up. There's a couple, I think that's it for right here, but I like that Power just goes like takes away Johnny Storm's powers and he just falls. I was like, oh, so Johnny's just dead? No, he's alive, but for a split. So I was like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
100%
When
dead.
he landed and he was like, "Oh, fuck!"
Yeah,
landed right on his, and then when he hit the ground and his body went backwards and his head was laying flat on the thing, I thought, "Oh my God, he was,
yeah,
really dead," but he
yeah,
wasn't,
yeah.
and so
And
that was
Wolverine goes
cool.
like, we don't know that guy. It's like, yeah, we
Yeah,
thought we did.
yeah,
And
we
it's like,
thought.
and next we get like a quick fight between him and Sabretooth, and just Sabretooth just
Really
goes,
quick fight.
yeah, like I
That
was,
was really quick.
if anything, if I had to say like if like, there were certain cameos that didn't add a purpose, it was probably the Sabretooth cameo that didn't really add a purpose throughout the whole entire film. Maybe Johnny Storm a tiny bit, but Johnny Storm was just basically there to, hey, this is what's the villain's name? Cassandra
Cassandra
Nova.
Nova.
Yeah. And so he was there to at least explain her character, but Sabretooth is like, I'm here. So that's the only character
Yeah,
really um
but
that
I thought Cassandra Nova was great since we're at the void and we're
yeah.
at that moment.
I she goes
I loved her.
like she just kills Johnny Storm and just rips his skin off. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
was intense. And then it
yeah,
just went to a blob of nothing on the ground. That was just crazy.
like
Oh,
that was just like really, really like graphic. And like, everyone went, ooh, like, like literally everyone went silent in the auditorium. And it's just, gosh. But then that kind of raises the questions like, why does she not do this to any other characters that come along if she's that powerful?
well, remember, she's diabolical. So she's trying to analyze, she's got her own wants and needs as a character.
Yeah.
So, if she
I,
could
I
have
could
done that to everyone, it was like,
I understand why she didn't do it to Wolverine because she was interested in, because this is like the first time like, oh,
oh, yeah,
Wolverine was
this is
in
the
the,
first Wolverine in the void. Yeah, we
yeah,
got to
but it's
figure out
like
why he's here.
she doesn't like Deadpool. She could have easily like, popped his head or whatever.
Yeah, but there was a lot of Deadpools in the void.
Yeah, that's the reason why like she could have just simply killed him.
Oh, it's just another Deadpool,
They're idiots. They're dumb.
having the one Deadpool in the void with the ponytail that had no healing factor.
Yeah, I was like, why is this
How did
Deadpool
he
here?
survive? Why is he there? Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole that yeah.
that was like I found that funny. And next, dog pool and everything was funny. It's like I cannot I would not allow a dog to lick me in the mouth. That's just gross. So many
Well,
diseases.
that was just disgusting.
Yeah,
But going back to Toad, Ray Park did come back to play
yeah.
him, and that was Darth Maul and the Phantom Menace, and
The Clone Wars is no, he didn't do voice acting. That was someone else.
no, but he did do the cameo in Solo, a
Yeah,
Star Wars story, as Darth Maul, and so to have him back as Toad I thought was good. That's important that when they were bringing the cameos in, they brought him in.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that like the cameos are really great. I'm trying to think of what cameos show up in this like little fort that Nova has. There was
well,
the chick with the nails from X-Men 2. She was there for a split second. You did see Juggernaut, and it's like
yeah, Juggernaut,
I
yeah,
like Deadpool goes like, so are you the new Juggernaut? Like this year's Juggernaut, because it's the same Juggernaut from X-Men 3, but it's not the same actor because they couldn't get him to come back or something. Um, but I like that they at least make fun of that type of stuff.
yeah.
and they poke fun at Disney. They poke up fun of Fox like earlier in the film. Deadpool goes up to the camera, grabs it, and he grabs the mic and says, "Fuck you, Fox! I'm going to Disneyland." Smash and breaks the
Smashes
camera.
it.
And I'm like, that's funny. Like that's
Yeah,
actually really funny.
it's really
Um,
good.
so in this situation, Wolverine, Deadpool, they escape. They go and like they go into this diner. They have like a little talk about like some other stuff like about like Deadpool trying to join the Avengers, and I guess in this Wolverine's timeline there's some form of Avengers because he knows what the Avengers are. Uh,
Oh, and
but
we can't forget John Favreau as Happy in the beginning of the movie,
yeah, that's
denying him his entrance into the Avengers, like his application.
yeah.
Hilarious.
I love the joke with Robert Downey Jr. It's like, so is the big guy gonna be join us? Like, no, no, no. At the moment, I'm the big guy. It's like, does he not? He doesn't really do this anymore. Like cameos? No, no. He just doesn't do these meetings. I like that. That's fun. And he would. That's another thing. Like they make Deadpool goes like Wolverine goes like with the Johnny Storm situation is like, oh my God, you got him killed. Like, we're all, and Deadpool was like, we're all grieving. You have no idea what he was doing to the budget. And I thought that was funny. It's like, the same thing
right.
probably with Robert Downey Jr. If he came in and did a cameo, he would eat the budget just for a split second.
Well,
Uh,
I know Henry Cavill, obviously was Wolverine in this thing. Everybody should know that at this point.
yeah,
Um, he had been paid $250,000 for a piece for all three of the cameos he did in The Flash, Black Adam, and then he did one other. I don't know if it was Aquaman or something, or Wonder Woman, but he had been paid three, so it was like almost $1 million for three cameos. And I'm just wondering, what did they pay him for the cameo in this?
yeah.
Was it $200,000? Was it $100,000? Was it?
He must have got a big paycheck. And I
I don't.
like that they
I
make
don't know
fun
if it
of
was that.
DC.
Oh, that was great.
It's like, we'll treat you much better than the fucks down the
The
street.
shit fucks down the street.
I'm like, geez, you guys are just like really going hard, especially with Blade later. They make fun of like there's only going to be one Blade because there's a Blade that will never a Blade movie that will never come out apparently. And so,
Oh, with Mahershala Ali. Yeah.
yeah,
No, so we got it. So Wesley Snipes is
yeah,
in this movie as the original Blade. That one shot where he's got the bazooka and he
yeah.
says, there's only one blade. There's only gonna be ever one blade.
I'm
And
like,
then Deadpool looks at the camera and does the whole head tilt. And I
yeah.
was like, oh man.
It's if
Oh,
anyone doesn't know about the Blade movie and that situation, they're not going to understand it. But like hardcore people that live in the film town or anything, they would understand that there's like Blade is going through a lot of situations. So there's definitely a lot of jokes people are going to feel like that's random and
well,
why they don't
Blade has been in development hell for 5 or
5 years.
6 years
Yeah,
now. Mahershala Ali, they've lost directors, they've
a lot of
lost writers,
writers.
rewrote, did this, did that, trying to figure out how to bring Blade into
It was supposed to come out this year. It was
yeah,
supposed.
and it's just been a complete I think with everything that's been going on with Disney, they just are taking their time because they want to make sure they get it right. But one thing, if there's one thing we've noticed, the fans want Michael Keaton as Batman when he came back, right?
Yeah,
They may not have shown it at the box office
or in a
with
good
the
movie.
Flash. Um, when they're doing these callbacks in No Way Home and they're bringing back Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and people want the people that they remember. And when it comes to Blade, the thing about Wesley Snipes is he's still ripped. He's still in just as good a shape as he was in, and as a martial arts guy and everything,
Yeah,
as the original films. Why couldn't you bring back an old man Logan type situation and give Wesley Snipes the movie, one more movie he deserves? And it's
I
funny that it was even said that the other day by
Ryan.
Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah,
that he deserves his old man Logan. And so this kind of was like giving him his old man Logan. Um, he's still in great shape,
yeah.
and
I
Mahershala Ali, I can't see him as Blade. Maybe it'll work. I get it. But I just don't see him as Blade. I know we're getting off on a tangent, but the highlight of the movie for me was having Wesley Snipes in it as Blade. I mean,
Yeah,
I love the movie altogether. Don't get me wrong, but as far as all the cameos go, like and Daphne
that was a
Keene was
that
in it,
that was like
X-23.
the shocking cameos like, as well as like because like I was thinking of like what cameos could they make from other movies, and like we knew that was her name, Jennifer
Well,
Garner.
Jennifer Garner as
Like
Elektra.
she was confirmed to be in it,
And well,
and
and the thing is, like, I was shocked that she was in it. I didn't
yeah,
know she was confirmed ahead of time
okay.
because she was just like mom now. She's like a mom. You got
Does she even
teenage
act that
daughters.
much? I don't.
She does, I only see her on the Capital One credit card, campaigns, and I know she's acting and doing stuff, but I'm just not someone and I know the whole thing with Ben Affleck and their divorce, but I'm just not following her career. And
Hmm,
so to see her back, and then I love that she shared on her Twitter account, because I don't call it X,
yeah,
um, uh, her workout video and training video to get back in shape to play Elektra, and she did a great job.
yeah.
I,
It
I
seems
you
like
know,
she really likes playing the role. It's just that she just got a terrible film, and so
it just didn't make the box office back
yeah.
then that they were hoping. Yeah, yeah.
And that's like like so I knew her cameo going in. I didn't expect Wesley Snipes Blade because of the new Blade. Like I don't think they would want to crap on their own like upcoming film that's already having issues, but then yet they did. And that's another shocking cameo. This is not something I was expecting at all, which was Channing Tatum as Gambit. I was like, no,
Loved
I'm
it.
like a guy that didn't
I
even
did
get a
not know
chance
that was
because
going to happen.
you know that he was supposed to get his own movie, right?
Yeah, he was trying to develop it and everything, but it all went to hell after 20th Century Fox was bought and merged with Disney, and Disney put a halt to all X-Men movies. But yeah, I love the whole story behind
Yeah.
that with Channing, and I thought he was great in the role. And even again, like Ryan Reynolds saying he deserves his own,
Yeah.
movie. And
They
there's
make fun of like it's like when he's asking his name and next he goes like you can call me the Gambit. It's like did you want it's like is that what you called it or did you want them to really call you that? And it's like because him really wanting his own film as Gambit was funny. And like so they make fun of his accent which was really bad, but I think it was done that way on purpose because it was probably going to be bad within the movie if ever that movie would have happened. And so
but see, that's the way he talks in the comic books, like
is
and
it
and
okay.
the, and the cartoon. The cartoon, he's the same way.
Okay.
He's like a Cajun dude.
That just
Um,
has a terrible accent that you can't
eh,
understand.
yeah, he's like from Louisiana. Yeah, pull up a clip of the cartoon when you get a chance, like X-Men
Okay.
'97.
I have not watched that. I need
Yeah.
to.
Or even the original X-Men
Yeah.
cartoon. Same thing. Anytime Gambit comes on, he had this like this accent, this French kind of Creole thing going. And
Yeah.
that's apparently he studied it and did it really, really well. Well
Okay.
enough that it threw off Daphne Keene. I saw her video where
Yeah.
she was talking about it. She said she
She's
couldn't stop laughing, and she said he couldn't deliver his lines when they were shooting her coverage because she would crack,
yeah. Which
which I
and
think is great.
yeah, no, that's hilarious. And next Daphne King being in this movie, which I was spoiled to it because I watched the final trailer. I was like, why would you show that?
I don't understand that. I
Like,
think that's the one cameo that they put in the last trailer for the movie, and I just went, why?
yeah, like if
But I think
you
they might have been trying to go, uh-oh, people are going to want to see an adult, X-23, and maybe it was anyone that might have been on the fence about Logan being his last movie, and now he's coming back, and maybe it might have been that kind of
either
thing.
way, it's a dumb choice to do. It's like
I
people
thought they could have held that back.
yeah, like they
Yeah.
already like if you want to drop a cameo in the trailer, you should have just dropped Elektra because people already knew that she was confirmed to be in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but no, they put Daffy King in it, and next when she was already saying no on interviews, like on the Acolyte, she was saying no, I'm not in it. They never asked me to come back, and so
But
eh,
she's, when you're under the mouse house, you're doing Star Wars, it's Disney, and then you got
yeah,
Deadpool Wolverine. I
you
mean, it was kind of a no-brainer.
yeah,
But she did a good job of hiding it
no,
until they spoiled it.
yeah, I think all everyone that was part of the film did a great job keeping a lot of this stuff hidden because nothing more true today is how trailers or with social media is just terrible for the movie industry.
Destroying. I literally had a friend of mine who was so upset. he canceled his TikTok account and his Twitter account, got him off his phone completely because they ruined the spoilers on Deadpool Wolverine before he had a chance to see it. He was so upset.
Yeah, that's why it's like if you're really gonna see a movie that you want to see, you got to see
You
it that
have to
first day.
unplug. You got to
Yeah,
unplug
or
or
see it the
see it
first.
opening weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like there's no way working around it. And so the people that keep this stuff hidden did a really good job. I don't know what Disney is doing, but they did an awesome job at that. And
Well, what do you
so
think about the Chris Hemsworth Thor cameo?
yeah, I
Like,
thought I was like trying to really look at it. Like, is that actually Chris Hemsworth? Like, or is it just
yeah,
like a scene that they took from
no, it's definitely something
actually filmed right then
they
and there?
filmed, and
Okay.
you're just kind of like he's crying and Deadpool's in his arms dying. It's
Yeah.
like, but Deadpool can't really die. Like, what's going on here? When does that take place in the timeline?
I think Secret Wars it probably would.
Dude, if that comes up in Secret Wars, that would be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, and like, at the end of this movie, you definitely know, like, they're both, I think Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds will come back for Secret Wars. I think it's already confirmed for
I
that.
mean, I think Chris Evans is going to come back as Captain America, or not Captain America, but he will be Steve Rogers. I think he will come back for
As like
Secret
a
Wars. In the comic books, he was in the Secret Wars.
yeah,
Steve
wasn't he like a
Rogers.
different like character or like
He was like a dark assassin type,
mm,
like a shadow kind of like CIA operative kind of guy.
yeah.
But he was, and I know they're going to pull them all back together again. It's going to happen.
Well, I mean, like we all knew that Robert Downey Jr. was going to come back, but now he's instead of coming back as Tony Stark, he's coming back as Doctor Doom, which is probably just a Tony Stark variant. That's probably what he's going to be, which is, I mean, like I think that's probably a smart move. Well, and if you want to talk about that, we can talk about it later. Um,
But
uh, Trying to think of so after the dinner restaurant place, they meet Nice Pool, which I like this character. I find him funny, but he again, like when
wait,
you
is
start thinking about
this is Peter?
no, Nice Pool, like the long hair gel.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
what they called him in the movie?
yeah,
Was
they called
Nice
him.
Pool? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
that was
funny,
just
but
funny.
yeah. And next
But
thing like a dog pool, and it's I. And next they make fun of Wolverine, Hugh, not Wolverine, but Hugh Jackman's divorce in that scene too. Like it's like, oh, he let himself go after the divorce. I'm like, did he actually get divorced? I had to go look it up after the movie. It's like, oh yeah, I guess he did get a divorce. That's sucks. I don't know how they got that in the film, why he would approve that. Like that had to be like a reshoot scene for that to even work. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and
Well,
so
no, I mean, I think they just were making light of like, what goes on, and that's where Deadpool can break the fourth wall, make light of even pop culture,
yeah.
which everyone's all up in everyone's business now. And so if somebody's getting a divorce like Hugh Jackman, and his wife signed an NDA, um, that she wouldn't talk about their marriage and all that other kind of
Uh,
stuff. And so now, a lot of the rumors are kind of out there now that Hugh Jackman, might play on a different team. Um, who knows? We could see that could happen in the future if he comes out of the closet or something. I don't know
oh
if that's the
wow.
case. But there's a lot of stuff that goes back to when Bryan Singer was doing the X-Men, that there were these parties and stuff like that. A lot of rumors, a lot of tabloid stuff out
Yeah,
there.
I heard a lot of
It
stuff.
may None of it may be true, but it makes for some fodder. And again, like I feel like Deadpool, they can, yeah, yeah, oh, this is after the divorce. It's like,
Yeah,
or maybe with the divorce, the joke was, he came back because he needed money to, pay her off. Who knows? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what he got paid for the movie. It's got to be about $20 million. I can't
Oh no,
imagine.
yeah. Like
He
it's
might have got 10 million and then points on the back end. He might
I
make like, if this thing does $1 billion, Ryan Reynolds and all these guys could literally take home 40 or $50 million at the end of it.
no,
With
they must be getting like
points.
a piece of the box office for sure.
Yeah.
And so, but I just it was just so cold. I'm like, wow. Well, like how like that's so mean. But
But it's a
so
Deadpool movie.
yeah.
Everything's mean.
And next so they get into a Honda Civic car, which Deadpool throughout the whole entire movie is just making a fun of Honda, making fun of Honda. He
It was a
even was
Honda
at
Odyssey. It was a
oh
minivan.
oh Honda Odyssey, not a Honda
Odyssey.
Civic.
Yeah.
Um, because he was even at a car dealership as his normal job when he retired as Deadpool. And it's like I always find this funny, but like he has such an attachment to this dog, and like he would not give the dog back to Nicepool, and just seeing Nicepool get upset that he won't get his dog back always got me. I'm like, oh my God, no.
Again,
Give,
like when Nice Pool has no regenerative power.
oh yeah.
Oh, dude,
That's like,
that scene at the end
it's
was
like, so
just
how long are you gonna take the regenerate? Regenerate? It's like you've done that on purpose. No, I did not. And it's like NXT uses him as a body shield and throughout the whole entire thing, and his head explodes. And he's bashing his dead corpse, and it's like, I taste his final thoughts. He died so he
I
died
tasted his final thoughts. That was great.
yeah. And he goes like he died as a hero. It's like he died from murder, you fucking. It's like so I love the dynamic between Deadpool and Wolverine. They're great. And
Great.
so uh
I can't, even when they bring Hugh Jackman into the MCU as Wolverine, which I
yeah,
think he will definitely show up in Secret Wars.
till it's
Um,
90.
the thing is, do they pair him up with Ryan Reynolds, in the
They
action
have to.
sequences? Kind of like you saw Hulk and Rocket Raccoon,
Yeah.
hanging out or whatever the case may be. When they were in Endgame, when everybody was like pairing up, all the women got together and paired up, and then you know, uh,
Yeah.
will they do something like that in Secret Wars where Wolverine and Deadpool will show up and they'll be like, oh, Wolverine and Deadpool, here we go, you
Yeah.
know?
Um well, so then like I
Oh
guess
yeah, back to the movie.
we're really jumping back and forth here. So we talked about Nice Pool now, then the Honda Civic, and now we get to the scene where they're in the actual car and they get into this brawl fight where he goes like, so
Fantastic.
if they could save your world or like fix your world, like what are you gonna do next? And that's when Wolverine starts picking up that he doesn't know if they can, and he goes like, I just made an educated wish. And so it's like, what does that even
That's
mean?
right. What does that even mean?
Like so, and it's NXT kind of goes like, I don't know what he said, but he's like, but Wolverine threatens him to say one more word, and he goes like, what? I don't know what the word that he said. Like he says it so fast that I don't know what Deadpool says to make him go to him and like freak out. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I do, but I don't remember the word that he used. Don't say another word.
I think he just says some random gibberish word.
But that monologue was just amazing by
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman.
he has so much passion for this character, and I think in the moment, like it's like he's like probably like while he's saying the lines, he's probably really thinking about over the years of filming, was it 13, 14 films? That was that was in that universe. But then when they get into the fight, he smashes Deadpool's head into the car onto the radio, and you can hear a glimpse of music from The Greatest Showman, which was funny.
Right.
Uh,
And then it went to Grease.
okay. And what was the final song, or was that Grease that was the
I think it
final?
was Grease was the final song. Yeah.
Okay. And so them fighting in the car is a great action sequence. I really like this scene. Next, they get tied up, and next you see on the back of the car, I don't know what it said, but it's some form of like religion or
No, it's
whatever.
it's 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 every symbol for all the top religions spelling out coexist, meaning
Oh, okay.
let's all get along.
Yeah.
It,
And
it's a
while they're
very it's a
flying,
very you'll see them on a lot of liberal uh a lot of liberal minivans, if you
okay.
will. A lot of Democrats will put the coexist sticker on their bumper
Okay.
because they just want everyone to get along.
Yeah. I mean, like that. How
So
hard
that
is
was
it?
great because like as far as the movie goes, it was like
Them fighting.
can't they
Yeah.
just coexist?
Yeah. And next, you see this mysterious figure get into the car and drive them off as Deadpool is like wrapped in the freaking seatbelts, which was funny. It's like, all right, well, Deadpool won that fight, and but it's revealed that it was Daphne King. I hate that freaking trailer because I watched. I it's always the final trailer that always ruins the movie. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
never watch the final trailer. even Alien, for the new Alien movie, the final
Oh,
trailer,
dude, the new Alien Romulus trailer basically showed you the whole movie.
yeah, I like the first two trailers, but that final trailer show practically everything.
Just everything. Yeah, all the money shots. I hate
And
that.
it's Disney. It has to be. Or that's just like studios' decisions now these days. But and next, they get the cameo reviews, reveals. I like the music. Let's just I really like the music a lot, especially during
Throughout
these
the
reviews.
yeah, throughout the entire movie, the soundtrack was really good. Not
Yeah,
just the songs that, were from Greece and stuff, but the actual score was really good. Very well
yeah.
done.
Didn't they stitch together? I'm always hitting my mic. Didn't they stitch together there's some form of soundtrack from those films when they were when Elektra, Blade, well, Gambit didn't have a soundtrack too
I
big.
don't know if they did that. When they did the reveal, when they all kind of walked out in slow motion, I don't know if that was the case. But what I do know is that it had a much different score than the first two Deadpool movies. It was more orchestra based, more cinematic, more corn gold, like Superman. Like he had
Yeah.
an actual like really good composition for the movie,
Wait,
and
I like much
that was a
better.
step up, man,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, whenever you hear an orchestra, it always sounds better than a digital thing that they created in a studio. It always
Or
does.
or just fill in the movie like, the one Deadpool would have, they'd play the DMX all the time in there,
Yeah.
in the action sequences. Instead of using songs, they're actually scoring it. And that always, I'm like you, man, it trumps that,
Yeah.
and you actually have a Deadpool theme in this movie where he didn't have one, where they can use that if he shows up in another movie. He's got his
Yeah.
own Deadpool theme where, when Indiana Jones shows up, he's coming. Dun, 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 dun. Or when Superman shows up, he's coming, because you got the Christopher Reeve. Like everyone has their theme music, and now Deadpool actually has theme music,
Yeah.
which I
Like
think
this
is
is like the
I think it's
first
cool.
time he actually has one because in the other two, I don't think there wasn't really any theme at all. It's just
No.
mostly like random soundtrack songs that they just played. Um, so and this is where we kind of figure out because they throughout the whole entire movie they're trying to get out of the void and go back to 1005's
Yep.
universe to stop from Paradox from erasing their timeline. So, but they need why am I blanking the villain's name again?
It's
Because
Cassandra Nova.
yeah, Nova. I'm just gonna call her Nova because I can't say her full name.
Yeah.
Um, they but they need a way to stop her, but they can't because she's too powerful. Because if you guys don't know who Nova is, she's like the twin sister of
Professor
Charles,
X.
yeah, Charles
Charles
Xavier,
Xavier. And I
which they
thought
made.
was really cool. There was a great line in the movie where she tried to kill Charles Xavier in the womb with her
Yeah,
umbilical cord by choking him out. And I thought, oh God.
I
I
think
mean, if
that's like
that's
an
not some
actual.
sinister shit,
Yeah, I think that's something actually from the comics too, is that she tried to kill they fought in the womb, and so I
that's
thought that was cool.
evil.
Yeah,
I loved
and
it. I loved every
and
minute of it.
and they needed to find like a helmet that they needed to stop her with to stop her powers. And Deadpool's first realization, it's like, all right, cool, we need to find Magneto. Where's Magneto? And Blade goes, he's dead. And he's like, fuck. And and this is where Disney starts getting cheap. And it's like, it's so funny.
Yeah, because he could they didn't want to pay Michael Fassbender to come
Or
back, or
Ian,
Ian McKellen,
it's like
like
they would be too
that's
expensive for sure.
I doubt it. McKellen would have shown up, but his I know his
Wasn't he
health.
injured?
He's had some health problems recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that he was in a play and he fell off the
I
stage.
think he broke his leg or broke an ankle or something, or
It was during the filming process as well. With this film. And so I thought that was funny. It's like, all right, like whatever we need to find his corpse and get his helmet. Nova melted. He goes like, fuck again. And it's like, just like really. And so then they get the idea to get
get
Juggernaut's
juggernauts.
helmet. And it's like, is it the same thing? But okay, yeah, why not? Whatever.
Sure, I don't know. At that point, I mean, the whole movie's just out the window as far as like, is this a plot point or not?
Yeah.
It's like, just
Eh,
let him get Juggernaut's helmet and throw it on her and see if it suppresses all her energy.
yeah. And so they head back to her base to fight her crew and get Juggernaut's helmet. And this whole entire fight sequence was a lot of fun. You get to see every can like the you get to see Elektra, Blade, and Gambit get their own like little moment to fight, and
Love
it's
it.
all great. I like Gambit's fight scene the most out of all of them. I think I like him throwing around the cards and blowing everyone up, and just Channing Tatum. He's such a good actor. I really like the dude. I
Dude, I love his whole outfit, and
yeah.
when he does the cards, it looks just like the comics and the cartoon, and seeing him throw the cards and everything. I loved it, man.
I don't think we'll ever see him again as Gambit though. I don't think. I think
I
this is
don't think
like
so. I think for all of these cameos, I really think that this is it. I think that that's this is very much like John Krasinski in the Multiverse of Madness, where you had him as Richard Reed from the Fantastic Four, and that's it. You're not getting
yeah.
him any more than that. Same thing with Patrick Stewart. I don't think they're going to bring him back at all for anything.
That's the one thing I was
Um,
shocked about a tiny bit. It's like, oh, Patrick Stewart is not making a cameo, but I think he's kind of like ready to move on as it is.
well, no, I mean he's dead.
Well, in that universe, but there's another like, Patrick Stewart
I mean
somewhere.
he died in Logan's universe, so I
Well, he's technically
mean
alive in Deadpool's like timeline, if you think about it.
Wolverine's timeline, he's dead because the Wolverine in this one, not the Logan, he's dead in the Logan timeline, dead in the
Oh,
other one because all the X-Men died.
well, I was talking
That's
about
why
like at
he ran away from
I
the
know.
fight, and they all
I
yeah.
was talking about like when you think of it like 2024's Deadpool timeline, he's technically still alive from after Days
Right,
of Future Past.
but he's also his brain is all messed up, and
Oh yeah.
he's causing 400 people at a time to have heart attacks and seizures because he's having seizures himself. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the whole point of Logan. They were hiding him because his brain was getting out of control, and they were putting him on the medicine to keep his mind suppressed.
Yeah.
Because he was dangerous. He was literally a weapon of mass destruction. He was labeled by the US government. So even if you wanted to get him from that timeline, he may be useless,
Yeah.
you
He's
know?
probably just gonna kill everyone in the void, which would probably be the better solution.
Oh, well, that would get rid of the void, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I this the void just causes a lot of issues, but they definitely can use it for a lot of funds. Um, where
They
I lost my train of thought.
No, I was just gonna say, there were some other cameos that they had. Colossus, Shatterstar was in it. We talked about Thor. Um, Billy Clements was like the Russian. I'm looking at the cast because there were so many cameos. And then you have to go back and figure out which X-Men movie they were in.
Yeah.
But it was just filled. This was such a love letter.
I'm curious if they're on IMDb now, or if they kept that
IMDb.
IMDb. Yeah.
It's I think the IMDb is all uploaded because they even have Blake Lively's cameo as Miss Wolverine or Miss Deadpool.
Okay.
Lady Deadpool.
I was curious if
She's
they
listed.
kept that probably hidden off of there too.
Yeah,
Because like
yeah.
I don't know how all that works on that website, but yeah, there's so many cameos. But the fight scenes, I don't think really any of them get as much as shown as Gambit. I think Gambit has probably the more screen time out of the cameos. Um, and next, you have Daphne Keene going straight up against Juggernaut, which I freaking like. I like her fight styles.
Oh
I think
man.
she's a great actor. I wish that she got more. I hope she gets more work. And I think she was probably the best thing out of the Acolyte. That whole entire scene with her. Actually, we won't get into spoilers of the Acolyte if no one actually watched it. That's a different topic. But she was great in that. So
Yeah.
and what she does, she basically goes for Juggernaut's ankles and just cuts them off, and next his ankles just go. And it's like, oh, ew, ew. And next she does the Wolverine jump. I just great stuff. And next you just know you don't even need to see her take her like take his head off. It's just like like okay, well that he's dead, and she has the helmet. And during this moment, Deadpool and Wolverine are up dealing with Nova, and Nova just takes Deadpool, crushes him up, throws him up, and just throws him away. And it's like, thank God. All right, now we can actually finally talk and not just yep, yep, yep. Like
Right. Right.
what's the actress name that plays Nova? Like her. I like her charisma in this film.
Her name is Emma Corrin.
Okay. I don't know. I think I've heard that name I don't know where I've seen her from, but I really like her as this character. When you again, when you try to really think about the story and the villain's plans overall, it doesn't really make any sense. But for these tiny little moments, she does a great job. That just like her acting is really good.
She's got quite a few credits, but I'm right off the bat. She was in Pennyworth, which was that she did 4 episodes of that. But her big thing is in The Crown on
Oh,
Netflix. She
okay.
plays Princess Diana. That's
That's
like a big thing. And then she's done a couple of movies since then before she did Deadpool, about
yeah.
about about 4 movies, but nothing that's like this is the greatest thing on earth. But The Crown as Princess Diana, that's the big deal for her.
Okay.
So yeah.
Um, and this is kind of where we get the reveal of Logan's past. Throughout the whole entire film, Logan just been having this like, he had this like past about because Paradox even hinted at like this is like the worst look. I like that like if you brought back any Wolverine, I would have accepted, but you brought me the worst one. And so
Right. Right. The one that
eh,
everyone died, the
yeah,
whole X-Men died. He abandoned them. Yeah. Yeah.
the reveal of what happened I found very, very weak because they
It
were
was it was
hinting at like that he's the one that went off and killed the X-Men. Because I believe there's a comic
no, no,
storyline.
no. I think what he even said, he heard the fight, but he ran from the fight.
Yeah,
He let them, they were screaming his name, Wolverine, Logan, and he refused to help them and went in the other direction, and they all died. So I think, and again, it would have to be going into comic book lore to figure this one out, but maybe they don't want to address that timeline because of whatever plans Disney has. So they
maybe.
they left it very vague.
But
Maybe.
I would have liked the story. I would prefer the storyline that there's a storyline in the comics where uh why am I blanking his name? For the villain of Spider-Man 2, Far From Home. Why am I blanking names?
The Doc Ock or Green Goblin or
Far From Home. Mysterio. That's what I was
oh,
thinking of.
Mysterio. Okay,
There was a
right, Jake
storyline.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, there was a storyline in the comics where Mysterio tricks Wolverine into killing the X-Men. I thought they were gonna maybe do something with that, which I think I would have liked more than what him just be
Oof, oof.
sorry, I'm not gonna help. It's like,
That would have
okay.
been that would have
Because
been rough.
yeah, like it's at least something like more darker than something that we've kind of seen before, because we've seen Wolverine where he doesn't really care about anyone, but he does, but he doesn't want to be part of a symbol, really. That's kind of like his thing. And
Right.
so either
And that
way, it
was
kind of still worked a tiny
I
bit.
I mean when in Logan when he was Weapon X and killed you know Charles Xavier in bed, that was brutal. Like
Yeah.
that was brutal. So I don't know if the fans want to see him. Thank God it was Weapon X and it wasn't Logan that did that. And because when he goes back up to him and he picks him up, he said, it wasn't me,
Yeah.
and he's holding him in his arms, and you're just like, oh God. Like I don't think people want to see him kill the
Well,
rest of the
you
X-Men.
don't have to see him kill him, but like say like I was tricked into killing my friends.
Well,
Something like
yeah, if Mysterio did trick him, because that he's all about, putting up the
illusions and
illusions. Yeah,
yeah.
I could see that. Oh, I love the Deadpool cup, by the way. That's
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
that's from the theater.
Yeah, it's from AMC. I got the little
Dude,
baby pool right here.
the baby
Uh,
pool. That's
Which,
great, man.
yeah, that's Ryan Reynolds' kid right there. And I had Ryan Reynolds right there. I actually got him back for this video.
Oh, I've
Um,
been looking at him look over your shoulder at me
yeah,
this entire
he's
time. So
making sure
yeah.
that I don't talk crap or and he's actually told me some stuff about the future of Disney. And
Oh,
yeah,
has he?
yeah,
And that was from If, right? Because I
yeah.
enjoyed that movie too. I liked If. If
I
was
sent
fun.
you. I like you. You believe that I actually met him, right?
You met Ryan Reynolds?
No, I did not. But I sent you that
Oh.
picture, saying that I
Oh, when
did.
you had the
Yeah,
cardboard cutout? Yeah,
yeah.
okay, yeah. No, I was gonna say, oh shit.
No,
There's every time I work on a new show or movie, I'm always like, oh, is there anybody in here that's gonna be somebody that I can't wait to meet? It'll be very interesting.
yeah.
Uh, so
Uh,
I'd love to meet Ryan Reynolds.
I would.
I think
I
it'd be a blast.
Yeah. I don't think I would ever get invited on Disney's premiere stuff, I think I'm on a blacklist with how much stuff I talk crap about them.
No, I don't think so. But I will say that I did, meet Blake Lively, and
Oh yeah,
we worked on a movie with her, and she was she what she wasn't very nice.
she wasn't.
She
Don't say
was
that. He's right there. He's literally right there. Don't.
he's Ryan Ryan. She wasn't nice to the cast and crew.
Oh
But in her defense, I'll say this in her defense, um uh she, had just gotten done doing Green Lantern, and that was a
oh well,
$150 million
that
movie.
explains a lot.
And they basically gave her anything she wanted. So when she came into this movie, this was an $8 million movie. Um, uh, I think she thought they were going to give her everything she wanted
Yeah,
on an $8 million movie. It doesn't really happen that way. And yeah, I just remember she was in a scene with Chloe Moretz. I'll just say this one little story. And she had just flown in from New York. She had to go get she was getting an award for fashion and walking a red carpet, and we had to change our entire production schedule to accommodate her, which cost the production a lot of money. They had to go find other investors to increase the budget of the movie because it threw everything, because we weren't told uh she had that thing coming up, that event, and it was right in the middle of filming. So anyway, long story short, um Blake maybe had pulled an all-nighter and was on a plane and got to set, and she didn't really know her lines, and so she had made this off the cuff remark to Chloe Moretz, like, can she say something else? Because in the scene, Chloe's listening to her, and she didn't Blake didn't want to keep, she couldn't remember the lines, so
yeah,
she's like, can she say something so that we can break this up a little bit? And everybody was like, "Ooh." And yeah, she was kind of cold to everybody. But anyway, that was a long time
yeah.
ago.
And after a
And
terrible movie, and so like like was she like the love interest in that movie in Green Lantern? I don't remember.
I think she was. I think she
Okay,
was.
that's
She might have been. She might have been. But yeah, no, she wasn't the love interest in the movie Hick. It started Eddie Redmayne, Chloe Moretz, and Blake Lively,
okay.
and
She has a new
Alec
movie coming
Baldwin
up.
was in it too. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, she does have a new movie, and it looks pretty good. I
Yeah.
saw Ryan Reynolds pushing it earlier today on Twitter.
What do you think is
Um,
going to do better on this on this weekend, like her movie or Deadpool?
Deadpool.
Oh, okay. I I don't know how much her movie costs and how much. I know it's based off a very popular book, but I don't know how hard it's going to be
I,
pushed.
I I don't know. I don't know. I don't
But we'll
know.
have to see. Um, so during this like mind reading that Nova is doing to Wolverine, which again we have to talk about like her powers, where she puts her fingers into like their minds. And I like the earlier scene where she's like reading Deadpool's minds, and she manipulates his memory, and uh his love interest, Vanessa, says that you won't fucking matter. I was like, damn, did she actually say that? But no, like it's revealed that it's Nova, and she takes
Right.
her fingers out of him, and he goes like, your fingers are in me, but not in a good way. And it's
Yeah.
like Jesus, and it's like that's like ugh, I hate the taste of your fingers. They taste like hate, and it's like
Oh man. I mean, yeah, great. Obviously great one-liners
yeah.
from Deadpool in that scene. And I did love the effect that she had every time she went into someone's mind, her
The first
fingers went
time it
into their.
looked a little weird on Deadpool, but I liked it when she was doing it to Paradox. I was like, okay, now that's creepy and gross. But the
Yeah,
way that you
yeah.
had it with Deadpool, it seemed like it was a CGI mask with the CGI fingers, so it seemed like it didn't mesh very well. But they probably did some form of, I would like to say, practical on the head size for Paradox, at least with the face model. Um, at least it looked like that, or it was very well done.
Well,
Um,
what did you think about, and doesn't that really get us to like the battle of the Deadpools?
yeah, we can talk about Battle of the Temples. I found this scene dumb. I'm not gonna
Uh,
lie. I like the fight scenes, but the cameos from the Deadpools were actually not interesting. Like they were,
It's funny because like it was revealed later, there was a Canadian Deadpool with a Canadian
yeah,
one. Then there was one and he had one of the football players from his team flew in and put on the costume and had the Deadpool symbol for their football team that he owns overseas. And there was that was the one thing where I was like, that scene just was like, oh, I get it, but it got good when they got in the bus.
Yes, I like the funny part where like all the Deadpool start freaking out, like ah, like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was good.
When
But
they're
like,
killing everybody in the bus and then they bust out of the bus window at the end,
yeah,
I liked it, but all the Deadpools was the army of Deadpools was like,
it's
I
like
I don't know.
We need a Spider-Man No Way Home moment. Seems like
They needed something for that third act. And I
yeah.
thought everything was great. The third act got a little wonky
I
with all
hated
the
the set.
Deadpools.
I did not actually like the set that they were using for some reason. I don't know what about it, like with that
Well,
street set.
that
I
street set was a back lot at a
yeah,
studio because and the reason the giveaway on that is the sidewalk is always almost twice the size of a normal sidewalk. So your sidewalk is like this concrete,
yeah,
a sidewalk, curb on a soundstage is always like twice the size. So when you're looking at that scene, you can tell everything had a little bit of a hyper realistic look to it. And
okay.
so that's what it was. They filmed on a soundstage somewhere or
It's just like
a back lot.
that was already created, or did they create themselves? Is that you're saying?
No, they probably went to a existing backlot somewhere. I don't know if it was Sydney Studios or where,
Okay,
and they just shot on a backlot that was already a pre-done like
save the
street
money.
corner.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would think they would try to save money anywhere they could. Disney does have a lot of property that they can
Chris
shoot on.
Evans
So
was burning the budget, that's for sure. Maybe like
yeah,
$50 million just for that cameo.
no, he didn't get that. I guarantee he didn't get that.
I'm curious if they will reveal how much he got paid for.
It was probably maybe 1 million, I would think 800,000, something like that. It would have to fall along the lines of a lot of the Henry Cavill $250,000 cameos because
Okay.
that's still a lot of, and they probably said we'll give you 250 to come. That's Electra, that's all of them, and they say and we'll give you points on the back end, and they're gonna make
Oh, okay.
in the end 5 million or six probably a
Out
piece.
out of all the cameos, do you think he probably made the most?
I mean, it depends on whose agent had the best
Yeah.
negotiator.
I think well, like
And
he has the bigger name out of all the cameos for sure, I think.
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
And
but yeah, so
sometimes the same agent could represent the same
that's
talent.
true. I
So, that's always
that's
a thing too.
I don't know how that would I don't know how that would feel for the agent, like battling for like one, like that's like a lose-lose for like the actors, but it's a win-win for the agent. That sucks.
Oh yeah,
And
it's a
so
win-win.
but so during this fight scene, like there was, I guess, talking about the Deadpool cameos, there was one that Matthew McConaughey voiced the Deadpool, which was kind of interesting. I was like, I knew like
Yeah.
he like the sound familiar, but it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it was Matthew McConaughey.
I'm over Matthew McConaughey.
Are you?
Yeah.
Is it because he's trying to run for governor now? As I think he
No,
is.
he's not running for governor. He already said he's not doing that.
Oh,
He could do more good outside of politics. He doesn't need to get involved in politics. But I will say, like, I'm just kind of burned out on him, I think. I think his last best role was Interstellar.
yeah.
I
What was the
just
last
haven't
thing
seen it.
before after that? I don't even remember what.
I mean, he did that series on HBO, the police one, what was it called? Detective Story or something.
Some
True Detective.
okay.
Yeah, he did a couple, like a season of that, and that was like, I know it was heavy. He always goes deep when he does these roles, but I feel like the last good movie I saw him in was Interstellar.
Yeah,
Which if you're gonna have your last best movie and it's a
be that.
Christopher Nolan film, it might
Yeah,
as well be a Christopher Nolan film.
let that be it. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, this whole entire fight sequence was kind of weird and not really like I wouldn't say put well together, but it was just like it felt out of place.
Well,
It,
and then the fact that like Pete just shows up
yeah, it was in his
and
old
then
suit.
all the people are like, it's Pete. And
Yeah,
there's a Pete in every timeline. And we all love Pete. So everyone stopped fighting.
yeah, like oh
Like I get it, but it was like, okay,
yeah, it's
all
like
right,
when you
move on. Let's get to, Cassandra Nova
yeah, like
and
when
let's
you actually
stop
start
the,
thinking about the movie, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
no.
But like
I
when you again, you're not going to
You're not
get a
going there to see it other than to just it be fun.
yeah. If
So
you want a
yeah,
good story, go watch Dune Part Two, which you still haven't seen. Um,
nope.
no.
I'll see it one of these days.
Um, might bring you on a
I still haven't seen Avatar, The Way of Water.
oh well, you watched
You know what I saw today
what did you
for
see?
the creator. It was the first time I saw the creator
You could have
and
picked a
loved
better.
it.
Oh,
Loved it.
I thought it was okay. Uh,
I know. I saw your review.
oh, well, I'm not gonna get into a different rant on that, but yeah, it's still a good movie. I just had story issues with it. But
Not to get off a tangent, but I will say
yeah,
this: like, I have a 4.5 year old daughter, and so I think the movie hits different when it's a father daughter like thing
fair. That's
where
fair.
you haven't had an experience like that yet. So maybe in time you may reflect and watch that movie again when you have your own family one day and you have a daughter and you go, okay, this is
Yeah.
powerful, then the wife and the daughter I mean, it was just the whole movie was, whew, it was
Yeah.
heavy.
No, I get it. Like Inside Out 2, like it will hit differently for different ages. And so,
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
but so yeah, the Deadpools go off and I don't know, have some fun time with Peter. I don't know what they
Yeah,
went
they
off and
all just
did.
vanish.
Yeah, they're gone.
They go back into the void. Did they all come from the void? Did
Yeah,
Cassandra Nova pull them in from every single timeline? Were all the Deadpools thrown in the void because they're all pains in the asses in their own timelines and they don't want to deal with a Deadpool?
they were in
I
the void and they I guess they were working for Nova. There was a line from Blake Lively's Deadpool where she was like we're gonna stop you at any cost to get to her. There was like some form of a line of that, and Dicepool was letting our Deadpool and Wolverine know like you don't want to run into those people. Like so there was like a line early on in the movie about that, but again it felt so weird to have them there, and it's like all right, they're gone. And so they go down to the subway to confront Nova, and this is where the movie starts a little wobbly for me because
Mhm.
Paradox and Nova just like they're villains. Nova was pretty intimidating
Right.
in the
No
Void.
one's going to remember Paradox and no
No,
one's going to remember. Well, no, people will remember Cassandra Nova, but people are not going to remember Paradox.
no. And like, and it's just when you think about like Nova could easily like kill everyone with the snap of her fingers. Why does she need this machine to do this? Well, to wipe the timelines, but it's like
It's
I
to
feel like
wipe
she
the
could do
timelines.
I think she can do that with even without it. But um so then they go down there and Paradox reveals like there's only one way to stop her from doing all this. But if you guys touch these two different like pillars that have like some form of energy that's going through it, you
Yeah.
will die. And so but they're willing, and it doesn't matter if you have regenerative powers or whatever. So they go down there, and Wolverine is the one that he wants to sacrifice himself, and he's
Yeah,
like,
because
I
he
have,
has nothing in his timeline.
yeah, he
All his
has
people are dead. Yeah.
let me do this one right thing, and
Yeah. It was a very, very glorious moment. But
like it works for in general for every Wolverine. Like it doesn't matter if this isn't the Wolverine that we've been following for the past, was it 13 years,
yeah,
or
every Wolverine, he sacrifices himself basically for everyone else.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it easily can connect to any Wolverine. And that's another thing. There's a if we go back to Nova's like fingering Wolverine's head moment, you see a lot of like flashbacks to all the other films, which this is kind of a little confusing. I could understand maybe like the first three and X-Men Origins, and but they show a flashback to Logan, like the actual movie Logan.
Yeah, but I
Uh,
think that there is something still shared between the people. You know how like you'll have deja vu and they'll
yeah,
say that could be your other person in your other timeline, or they say when you dream about something, you're
was mentioned
actually
in
the
Doctor Strange. Yeah,
right, you're the other timeline in the dream. You're the other guy. And
yeah.
so I think they're referencing that.
Okay. Well, it was
Yeah,
a little it was like a little confusing, but then you do think of Doctor Strange and all that, which is like,
right.
okay, maybe that's something. But, and another thing that people were theorizing that like maybe this was like a different off point of Days of Future Past. Like that was probably like because I think James Mangold wanted Logan to be a direct sequel from Days of Future Past. So the Fox universe timelines is really confusing when you
Yeah.
really think about it. But it's like, okay, maybe this is just a different timeline from this certain Fox universe. Um, but so Wolverine wants to sacrifice himself, and next, I like the line that Deadpool gives to Wolverine. It's like I'm happy that we finally got this team up after all this time. Because like Hugh Jackman regretted killing off Logan, and because at that time he heard about Deadpool being filmed, and he's like, oh crap. So I wish we maybe haven't done this yet. And so now we got that. And next Deadpool sneaks up behind Wolverine, basically almost knocking him out, and closing the door on him. And one and next Deadpool is going to sacrifice himself. And I like this, like, little moment through the window where he's like, I forget the exact line, but he's like, see ya. Or next he goes like, Spock, I can't do the Spock thing. Can't do the split fingers.
Yeah, he does the Star Trek thing. Where he does the, the Kirk,
Yeah,
uh, one, I think I can't even do that, but there you go. But the line in the Kirk movie is he does the thing, but then when he does like the flying like Superman thing where he's like this,
yeah.
like that was hilarious too. Are we having technical issues or no? Or
We're all
I
good
thought it
now.
froze up or something for a second.
Yes, for a second there, but we're all good
Okay.
now.
All right.
Uh,
All right. So what I was going to say was, yeah, we shall and always will be friends. That
yeah.
was the Kirk thing or the Spock thing and sacrifice himself in Wrath of Khan.
Walks down the
Um,
stairs.
yeah, walks
Yeah,
down the stairs and then does the Superman thing like he's flying. That was
yeah,
funny. But I loved when they locked hands, because Deadpool couldn't reach the other one. So
yeah,
when they locked hands and then they were both grounding. That was the only way to ground out the timeline cutter, the machine.
yeah,
And when his shirt exploded, the
yeah.
funny thing to me was why was it just Wolverine's shirt that exploded? Other than when Wolverine like
Well, you don't
looks
want to
like
see
this,
you don't want to see
looks
Deadpool
well.
wrinkles.
I know, but you see Deadpool like look like this, and the
Uh,
abs are like right in his face like this.
Yeah,
It's like, and you just see that. And he said something about the hairy abs.
yeah.
Um,
Was that like CGI abs or what?
I think that was because one thing you got to remember is like you could see the energy flowing underneath the skin. I
Yeah,
think that was a completely CGI when the shirt busted off. I don't believe Hugh Jackman
I
was
s-
that buffed out.
yeah,
I know his arms are huge because he
yeah,
worked out his arms, but if you looked at any of his workouts, God love him, but he skipped leg day all the time because his legs were always really ultra skinny. And so
yeah.
I feel like he just got his arms jacked for the movie, but everything else wasn't as jacked as it was for Logan
Logan
or
or
for
etc. Yeah,
when he's doing 6 months of eating egg whites and that's it. I think that was very CGI, which goes to show you they could keep bringing him back, and as long as they throw him in that
yeah. He can
I
be
mean, and
90 and make him look like he's 40 still.
yeah, well, they can
Yeah.
do that now,
Yeah, I really love that joke. I wish they didn't put that joke in the trailer too. It's like, yeah, Fox killed him, but Disney brought him back, and they're gonna make him do this till he's
just
90.
till he's 90.
Yeah, like that's like with like anybody if they bring them back, it's like they're gonna make Robert Downey Jr. do it till he's 90 too.
I mean, and they already de-aged him in Civil War.
Wait, who? Oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey
Yeah,
Jr. They made him like a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old, man. It was
yeah.
crazy. He looked just like he did in Weird Science. It was
I would say
wild that
that
they did
looks
that.
way better than Harrison Ford. Oh,
Oh no, I think they did such a good job with that last Indiana Jones movie, the de-aging. Some of the scenes looked really bad, but some of them were literally you couldn't tell the difference, I thought.
oh yeah. Well, I think it was what it was at night. It made it look better, but there was some lighting scenes that looked
There were
off.
lighting issues, yeah, and they did put the CGI face on of Harrison on a couple of stunt doubles. You could see the frame of the stunt doubles was a little off from Harrison's body, and so it just looked off. But
It's
yeah, but the fact is they're getting better and better and better at this de-aging stuff, and I
it's getting
think
scary.
they just de-aged Natalie Portman for a TV show she's doing on Apple Plus, and made her look like 20 or 30 years younger than what
Is she,
she is now. And I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. And so,
is she the main star of it, or is she doing like a
yeah,
small? Oh wow.
no, she's the star of it, but she plays an older version of her, but there's
Oh,
flashbacks. When they do the
okay.
flashbacks, they de-aged her and it's flawless. I mean, it looks like Natalie Portman, like when she did the Phantom Menace. That's how young she looks.
Just
Like
I think the simple answer is just cast someone that looks like the person that's
it
younger.
is, but
Well,
this
yeah,
the technology, they're
I
just going
guess
to
it's
keep
cheaper
pushing
to
these things.
use. I feel like it's cheaper to cast someone that's younger that doesn't know that isn't well known than the technology, but whatever. I guess.
No, I agree. I think there's something to it. I just think, but again, it goes back to like bringing Hugh Jackman back. It's people just can't let go. They
Well, no,
can't let
yeah,
go. Just like bringing back Michael Keaton as Batman in the Flash. They
yeah,
can't let go. The directors that are directing stuff now grew up with them and wanted to work with them
and you know what's gonna
and want to
happen?
put them back in
Yeah,
so that they could say they did something with them. And I
yeah,
mean, dude, the before and afters on the Flash, they where they de-aged Michael Keaton from some of the press photos that came out where he was so wrinkly, and then they went back and smoothed out his skin in all the scenes. Dude, that just goes to show you like how, some people just don't need to come back for their roles. I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, that says, and that's also like, in my review, I said, like, I can't picture anyone else playing Wolverine. That's kind of the issue as well. When we say that, the studios take that. It's like, well, then if you say that, then we're just going to keep on bringing him back. And we're going to do, but we have to cut some corners to make that work if you really want him. And
But they did test the waters with Calvary,
yes,
and people accepted that. Now
hopefully that makes him the next Wolverine.
it's not going to because he's 40 years old
Well, that too.
already.
Yeah, he's already
Okay.
40.
So even when they go back and like they're gonna if what how was 55 is that how old Hugh Jackman is? 55?
I think he's like 60. I think he's in his 60s. I'll have to look. But like when did Hugh Jackman get cast? He was like in his 30s.
Yeah, let me see. I'm gonna look up Hugh Jackman's real quick. He's 55 years old.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's just be honest, man. Like, he can probably do this till he's 60, another 5 years. And then they're
And
they're gonna have to make a decision. And I think they were just basically going, you know what? Henry Cavill's 40, and if he plays the role for another 5 more years, that only makes him 10 years difference. They're gonna have to go younger for someone to play
like
Wolverine.
like Edgerton.
I could see that. I could absolutely see that.
There was a Daniel Radcliffe was another option people wanted. But
Daniel
how
Radcliffe, I
old
could
is
see
he?
that.
Is he like 40? I thought he's like
Daniel, let me
maybe in
see.
30s.
Daniel Radcliffe is 35 years old.
So yeah,
So,
like
and
15 years.
yeah, I mean, so, you just, and he may not even be interested in doing something like this.
No.
So you may have to find a whole new actor. And again, like Kevin Feige came out and said, whoever plays Wolverine next is going to have to do a different take on it. It can't be an impression of Hugh Jackman. Um, because he's made the role. So yeah, if they can use him for another 5 more years, I just don't think they can get 10 out of him. Although Harrison Ford was 80 when he was doing, or 79 when he did the last Indiana Jones film. I don't want to see an old man Logan that old fighting the way.
Yeah, when we already got Old Man Logan as it is. And
Yeah,
so like, well, I mean, like when you think about when we have Doomsday, between Doomsday you have Battle Earth, and next you have Secret Wars, which will end the multiverse saga as soon as that. So you can get maybe one more film with Logan, that with Hugh Jackman, that isn't the main star but is
and
part of it.
you have to reset it after
Yeah,
Secret Wars.
it has to, like, because isn't in the comics where like after Secret Wars all the timelines collide with one and making one universe, right?
Well, yeah, I think, yeah, basically all the other universes are, I think they're cut off,
Okay.
and there's some big galactic thing that happens, and it's left with one timeline.
Okay. Yeah,
And
which
so
we need to,
Loki's out of a job.
yeah, which
Maybe Loki will come back then
I hope we get a Loki reunite with his brother. I think
with
that would be
Thor.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be nice. But so during while Wolverine and Deadpool are holding uh the two pillars together with all this energy that's going through them, you basically can see that's ripping them apart. And
Yep.
and it's like it's pretty graphic. And so I this is where I really like the music. They do Be Pray. What's the full song title? I forget the
Like a
song.
Prayer by
Oh
Madonna.
yeah. I really like what they did with the song for this moment. And next, like, we get some of these flashbacks with Wolverine where he's actually proud to wear the suit for once, which I guess we need to talk about the suit. We forgot to talk about the helmet. What do you think of the helmet of
I loved
itself?
it. I loved it. I loved it. I love that they gave him the white eyes,
Yeah,
which is just like the comic books, because they proved they could do it with Deadpool with the white eyes. So it's going to work. And that
I like
means
the
going
joke where it's
going
like,
forward, if they want to do that going forward with a lot of these different costumes that have white eyes in the comic books, they could just
yeah,
do it.
yeah. I like the joke that he made with Deadpool made. It's like, so how are the blow handles on that thing? It's like
Yeah.
I'm like,
Shut up.
gosh, dang, you have a he has a freaking dirty mind.
I do feel there was one missed opportunity in that moment. And I'll say this, when they held each other's hands and the energy went through them, I felt that maybe, just maybe, Deadpool could pull his mask off and he would be all healed, because when he became one with Wolverine, I thought maybe his healing factor, even though they can both regenerate, his Wolverine's healing factor always heals his wounds back to the way it was. I thought maybe he would pass over something that would
hmm.
give Deadpool his features back. And so then he could be with his girlfriend and it would be the old Wade Wilson. And I thought it was a missed opportunity where Wolverine could have given him a little bit more of his mutation that would have healed Deadpool's skin
Just
from
as like a maybe final send off if this is the last one.
if it is, or
Yeah.
whatever, at least they could use Ryan Reynolds as himself and he doesn't have to go through 8 hours of makeup again.
I'm curious. Did you see that one video where he was like, put all the makeup off and he's like, nope, it's all wrong and ripped it off? Is that
Yeah.
real? Is that like a
I
real thing or was that all for a joke?
I absolutely think they did that.
Oh God, that's mean. I don't know.
No, no, as a joke. He
Oh,
did it
as
as
a
a
joke.
joke,
Oh,
and
okay.
his makeup artists were like, "Oh my God," because it did. That's 8 hours,
Yeah, no. And so I'm hoping that
So,
those makeup artists got paid a lot of money and more respect.
oh, those makeup artists make a good rate.
Yeah.
I've got friends that are makeup artists in the film industry. They get paid well.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm sure Ryan, just like Keanu Reeves gives stunt guys, Rolex watches, I'm sure Ryan does a little bonus stuff for all his people that put up with his ass for 8 hours a day putting
Yeah.
on
The
makeup.
like the jokes and all
That
that.
happens a lot. That happens a lot, where the actors will take care of the people that are close with them and that
Besides
are
that
involved
one
with them.
actor that was in Deadpool 1 and 2 that was behind the bar, I guess. I forget his name. I guess him and Ryan bump heads.
Oh yeah, TJ Miller, is that his name?
Yeah.
I completely forgot he was in the movies until you just brought him up.
Yeah. He's the only one that
That's how much I just honestly I did not care for his character in the two Deadpool movies, or whatever he did in them.
yeah.
I was not a fan. I've never watched that show on HBO where he's like a Silicon Valley kid or something. I don't like his humor. But that's just me. I mean,
Oh,
other
okay.
people may like that. I don't like him. I don't like
Maybe
him.
maybe that's the
I
reason.
thought he was the weak link to
Yeah.
both of those films, having him in there.
Yeah. Every time like Deadpool says like I want to save my friends and here's the picture of all my friends. But besides that one guy from Deadpool 1 and 2 that you're supposed to be friends with, I
Right.
guess. It's like I'm surprised that wasn't even a joke in there about him. It's like you're making a joke about Hugh Jackman's divorce. And it's like why
Yeah,
not?
I think, if they would have pulled up a photo of him in any capacity, they have to pay him for that.
Oh, that probably too. Yeah.
And that just, yeah, I remember hearing a story, Michael Biehn, who was, killed off posthumously in Alien 3 from playing Hicks in Aliens.
Yes. Yeah.
They paid him for the one photo that shows up where it goes Hicks dead, deceased. They paid him the same salary he made for the entire Aliens movie.
Wow.
Uh,
That's just
and
for
he
a
said for the
photo.
one photo, because he was pissed and his agent said you're not going to be able to use it unless you pay him what he would have made if he had the role. and
They
that
should
they
just make
did.
they
They
should have just
paid him.
been they should have just been like, all right, let's just make a sequel with him instead of
Yeah,
killing him off. It'd
yeah,
been more worth it. But
yeah,
so yeah, and during this process, we get a bunch of flashbacks, which are actually very emotional. They actually got me. Next, there's one with Deadpool, and he's like, I want to see Vanessa, and I'm like, oh god. Even though she was annoying for the most part, like this on and off situation, like with I'm trying to compare it to something. This I don't know, Padme and Anakin like toxic relationship.
yeah.
Uh, but besides that, it's like he is actually really trying, and so it's like okay, it's like this is his soulmate that he wants to be with. Good for him. And next, like you see, but you see, Nova, you see Deadpool and Wolverine, they start freaking out, and like boom, explosion. And so you think they're dead, and next, the woman from Loki comes into investigate, which if you've never seen Loki, you're gonna be like, who is this person?
Yeah, you're gonna be like, who is this person? And yeah, and she comes in, yeah. And then I again,
I
like I
love I
think
love Paradox's reaction though, but
my issue with a lot of that is it almost felt like when she showed up and then like, oh, you're under arrest now for doing whatever you did, blah 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 blah. It takes the gravity away from the entire movie, right?
a
Because
tiny
it's
bit,
like
yes.
it's just a
At least
tiny
with the
bit.
joke with Peter, I found that very weird. It's like, damn, you look good, and that's just like, wait, what? Okay. It's like,
I,
I guess, are you
I
hitting on someone and she
he
needs
is. He
she need
actually was. He was hitting on. Yeah, I mean,
all
vice
right.
versa. Plus, remember, Peter's got that big, you
Yeah,
know,
that was a joke. It's like,
a big
if my
big sack of nuts right there, and that'll make any woman want to get a big sack of nuts like that. I don't
I
know.
guess like there was even this joke at the beginning of the film. It's like my friend a couple of years ago was having a mental life crisis, and he got this chain attached to his nipples and his
And then he
junk.
lifts the shirt up, and he's
Yeah, it's
got yeah,
like what? It's so random, so weird, but it works, I guess.
yeah.
But I love Paradox's reaction to I forget her name. I don't remember her name. She was like a number or something. But he goes like, "Yeah, my men. I told my men not to go down there, but they did and sacrificed themselves. But there's nothing you can do to bring them back." And it's Deadpool off in the distance. It's like we have risen, and he goes like, "Fuck!" And it's like
Yeah.
it's like and so next the music starts ramping up and people start laughing, which was funny. And I love the joke that he makes to Wolverine while everyone's like glorying over his abs and everything. He's like, put a shirt on you,
Put a shirt on.
well, like you slutty, like something on those lines. It was funny.
It was
And
great.
yeah, and next Paradox gets arrested. Exact, yada
And then they're
yada.
all at the birthday. They're all at the table with the whole family of
Yeah,
everyone,
and
and
Daphne
then
King
that
was there.
and Daphne King is there, or Daphne Keene is there,
Yeah.
and yeah, now it's like the father daughter relationship.
Again, if you start thinking about the timeline, so now we have two Logans in the same universe, we have two Daphne Kings in the same universe. So it's like, uh,
but when all if she was sent to the void from that universe, now she's back. She's the single one.
but it's before that because it takes place in 24, while Logan takes place in 29, and she is going to be way older,
Did they
possibly.
say this was 2024?
Yeah, they did. That's why when
Hmm.
a lot of things get brought up, it's like, wait, so shouldn't there be an incursion then happening right now with the same people in the same timeline?
Suspension of disbelief. The
Yeah,
audience just has to suck it up.
but
But
that's another
because
thing.
if they do make a movie with the two Wolverines, if they decide to do an X-23 movie with her with
I would like to see her
Logan,
return. I would like make her the next Wolverine. I don't care. Like I would like to
yeah,
actually.
but then they would call it the MCU if they made her the next Wolverine.
Oh,
Although it's all, I don't think anybody would complain because she did such a great job in Logan and such a great job in this. I think people would want to see her as it. It just depends on as an actress, does she want to keep doing this role?
yeah,
You
for the
know?
next 20 years. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Like whenever you get in a contract with like these big studios, you're going to be there forever. And
Yep.
that's why probably Radcliffe is not going to do it because he did like his whole entire life as Harry Potter. He doesn't probably want to do that ever again.
Man,
As
I don't
much
even
as
look at that guy as Harry Potter
no,
anymore. So
he's
how much
ripped.
work he's done now and the things, the weird movies and the choices he's made.
He
The
became a good
guy's
actor.
just, yeah.
And so he's more of an artsy actor now instead of what he was and like a blockbuster actor as a kid.
Going
Um,
back to to Daphne Keene though, I will say this. Her throwing on the little kid sunglasses like she had in the, I don't know if that played well with, I was like, eh,
it's like, hey, you remember Logan?
yeah.
This is the same one,
Let
but
me just tell you, I've grown up a little bit, but the
yeah,
glasses should have been smaller because the glasses were for a little
it's
kid
literally the same size of her
and it's the
head.
same size as her
If they
head.
if
So
they
it's
got the
like,
same glasses, she wouldn't even be able to see the fight. So it's just been like blocking her eye view. But and
yeah, but I get it. I mean, I get it.
getting bringing up the timeline again is like it's like out of nowhere. It's like, hey, Deadpool, your timeline's suddenly fixed. Like whatever you did here, it's like, wait, what? Okay, just that resolved instantly. Is it
Yeah.
because Wolverine is here, or is it because the machine that that Paradox made exploded and that's fixed its timeline somehow? Like it's just like it hand waved a lot of stuff and not really and like try to not really explain anything. And that's the biggest problem with the multiverse stuff is like and none of it ever gets explained. It's just like, there you go. And it's like,
Yeah, and that's where even the joke that Deadpool says in the beginning of the film, we really have to stop doing these multiverse
yeah,
movies, you know. And then
uh,
even James
Oz did it
Mangold coming
better.
out,
The gays
Ja-
knew.
but even like James Mangold says, this is the death of storytelling, and what he meant by that when he said the multiverse is the death of storytelling is because there's no sense of danger anymore. If there's a problem and
Time
you've
travel.
got some intergalactic guy, just go get a variant from another timeline, bring him in, save the day, send him back to his timeline, and it just takes all the gravity and the weight off of everything having these multiverses, which
Yeah.
is why by the end of Secret Wars they need to bring this all together and have
Yeah.
one universe, and kill all these timelines. That just has to happen.
Well, and I think the problem with that, with phase five, and are we in phase six? I think we're in phase six right now. Um,
Are we?
I think so. I don't know how many phases that there is at this point, but the problem with with the multi saga is that there was never a clear narrative like there was with the Infinity Saga. Even though that Thanos wasn't really in it that much, he was hinted at, and the Infinity Stones were dropped throughout the films.
Right, right.
But
And then how
here
they
it's
tied the Tesseract and all of them as all these
one,
things that we
yeah.
thought were something were actually the Infinity Stones,
Yeah, but
you
here it's
know.
like Kang showed up in a TV show, an X1 movie, and now because of Jonathan Majors issues and etc., and the movie not really working out as they planned, it's
They
like
just have to keep changing and changing and changing and changing things.
I think well they're gonna keep the main storyline pretty much the same, just replace the villain as Doctor Doom. That's pretty much I think what they're doing. But the pro now with Doctor Doom being the main villain, it's like, oh, so how are you going to explain this? He's going to show up in Fantastic Four for maybe a split second, and now he's going to be the big baddie for the next two films. It's like
Well,
it's gonna feel dis disconnected.
I think one of the reasons why they did the reveal was because they knew they would be filming the Fantastic Four and there would be set leaks of
Rob.
pictures of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And if they didn't get ahead of the story and do this launch of it, that's the only reason why I think they even revealed that it was him, was because they knew that someone would see him on set and that would leak and it would just blow up everything. So let's just go ahead and grab the bull by the horns and tell everybody what we're doing, but
But they
without
couldn't keep
telling them what we're doing, you know?
but they couldn't keep it as a secret as Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. Is it just because he was there on a set for one day and that was probably
No, I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to have a bigger part
okay?
than in Fantastic Four. I don't think it's going to be a small cameo.
Yeah.
They
And
say
he doesn't do cameos.
Galactus is the big villain in it,
Yeah.
but I think there's more to it.
Probably. There's probably going to be
So,
more to it. But yeah, that was, and the final shot on the movie is almost like, Logan with the hat, but it's with Wolverine and not Logan, Indiana Jones in the hat. And but it's with Wolverine's um mask and next Deadpool's mask, which is a nice shot. but I found the credit scenes lacking. Well, after the previous
Did
that.
you?
Well, no,
I like.
I like the music stuff and I like the flashback stuff, but like the creative activity in the credit scenes was lacking from the previous two.
Well, I think because maybe they didn't want to. If let's say this is the end of the Deadpool trilogy, let's
They
be
didn't want to do
honest.
that.
Let's be honest. They wanted to leave it on something that wouldn't connect.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's what they did. Because let's be honest, this is Deadpool 3, even though it's called Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
This movie's already at $850 million. It's going to break a billion by this weekend. Um, this is his trilogy. Do you want to then do another film that may not be as successful? Once you hit a billion on a franchise, you really don't want to go down.
No, I
So,
agree.
so
I
how do you do
agree.
that? You do that by just showing up in the Secret Wars movie
Yeah.
as somebody and be a part of the team and not do any more I don't think we're going to get any more Deadpool standalone
No.
films going forward after this. I think it's
No.
over.
Because I don't think Disney wants to take the risk on rated R films anymore. Besides, probably Blade. Blade's going to be the only exception after that.
No, I know this is, if anything, it proves that you can make $1 billion if you do it right with a rated R film.
No, they can, but
Um,
I think Disney wants to stay true to its name, but family friendly. That's the only issue. But I was thinking more of the art style, but even the credits art style and all that. But even the post credit scene, like I found funny with Chris Evans being like, I don't remember his full on quotes. I can't remember, but he's like going off about Nova and all that. I found that funny. But after hearing it 20 times when you're cleaning a movie theater, it's like, all right, shut up, Evans. Shh. And so,
right.
but no, and I'm also kind of I want the the franchises start to move forward after like the lack of content. Well, not actually, we can gain too much content, but the lack of story moving forward, I'm getting sick of. So I want them to try to get me excited for something. Here it's just like, nah, we're like, this is like the final send off. We want you to be excited for Fantastic Four, or is it no? It's Captain America. That's the next one. Uh,
Yeah.
um, we want you to get excited for Captain America 4, but this is just like just live in the moment type of deal, which that's what the whole credit scene was. It's like, remembering the good old times with the
I
Fox
loved it.
universe.
I thought it was such, and see, that's what DC didn't do
Yes,
with
with
their universe.
with Aquaman.
They disrespected everything and they couldn't pay homage and do something like that. They rewrote the endings so that they wouldn't have any of the cameos with Henry Cavill, and they shut it all down, and they were just at this clean sweep, pretend none of it exists. And I think that right there was so disrespectful. That's why I just don't think any of the DC stuff is going to be successful going forward. I don't care what anybody says. This new Superman is not going to
I,
make a
I
lot of money.
I'm looking
Um,
forward to it. I'm looking forward to Superman.
I like Superman. I mean, I like Henry Cavill Superman. I like Christopher Reeve Superman. I like Brandon Routh Superman.
Yeah,
I'll give Superman the benefit of the doubt. What I don't like and what I've been upset about this whole time is how it was handled with Henry Cavill. They took the guy, they told him to go out and make an announcement. Black Adam drops. He makes an announcement. I'm coming back. The world goes nuts. They can't wait. And a month later, they
yeah,
pull the rug out from underneath him and go, fuck you, we're starting over. And to me, that was so disrespectful to the fans. They could have stopped that while Black Adam was in post. They could have said, no, don't do it. We're already killing the cameos in the other movies. Let's kill this one. And not show that at the end. And let's not tell Henry Cavill to go back out there to his fans and tell, because he didn't have a contract yet, but they
yeah.
told him. Zaslav said, we're making another one. We're going to do it with you. We'll do it right. Blah, blah, blah. And that
It,
was just, it's how it was handled is where there was disrespect. And then to have James Gunn come out and say, no, I didn't fire Henry Cavill. He was never hired.
hmm.
Fuck you. That's word salad. You're a piece of shit. And I can't get behind Gunn on any of this stuff. I don't like any of the stuff he's done. I'm not a fan of Suicide
You don't like
Squad.
Guardians of the
Um,
Galaxy?
the Guardians of the Galaxy films are okay, but um, do you remember the villain from the first one?
Ronan? Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the villain from the second one?
Peter's dad. I don't remember his character's name.
Well,
Uh,
yeah. Do you remember the
but
villain from the third one?
not the name, but I know his face.
Right. Okay.
But yeah,
Were they worthy villains? No,
I know,
they
but
weren't. None of them were.
I would say the third one was a little bit better with because of his connection
Because
with
of
Rocket.
Rocket.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, but if you look at how much money the first two movies made, they don't even compare to like the Deadpool franchise,
No, no.
you know?
Uh
And so for me, I just don't know. Like he's not proven to me. And then to do Suicide Squad, $185 million budget, it makes 169 million at the box office, and it sucked.
I really liked his Suicide Squad movie, and like there's COVID and all that, but like there's a
It's just
multiple different
you
factors.
can't blame COVID
I'm not blaming
because
COVID, but
no, but what I'm saying is people use that excuse all the time. Oh, it was released
okay.
during COVID, and so was No Way Home, and it did $1 billion. Okay,
Yeah.
so was Top Gun Maverick. COVID was still going, and it did $1 billion. So it's you make a good movie, people are going to show up. Nobody gives a shit about the Suicide Squad. No one cared about them when David Ayers did it,
No one
and
cared
no one
about the
cared.
DC at the time either. That's a
No,
factor as well.
no, DC fans don't show up to the theaters.
Yeah.
Marvel fans, if you give them something good, they show up to the theaters.
Yeah.
And so I just don't like how anything Zaslav has done at Warner Brothers. And I've worked for Warner Brothers. I've worked on a dozen Warner Brothers projects. I don't like how he's treated people. I don't like how they've done what they've done over there, how they've
Okay.
destroyed the IPs. And I'm just not a fan. And I'm not a fan of Gunn. I
Yeah,
don't think
no.
he's that good.
Well,
I think he got lucky.
yeah. Like there's like a different like point of views that go on here. You work in it, and I see it from the outside perspective,
Right.
and all I can do is speculate on things. And so it's like, like DC as a whole wasn't doing good at all. And so like when you think of like maybe like, well, that could like, so there's different factors that could go into it. And it's like,
Right, but let's just look at the Batman versus Superman did 785 million at the box office. I mean,
quality could be a
the
different. Yeah.
Batman did 780 million at the box office.
Yeah.
Okay? So like they have a bar, DC movies have a bar that they hit and they just don't break a billion. They're just, the
I
Joker
don't think
was
they
a
will.
fluke.
Yeah.
But The Dark Knight, that that was gold. I mean, the Nolan universe was gold. If they'd have stuck with that shit, they could have kept going and going and going. But it's just they've just had a tough time. Or if they actually got behind, and this goes back to David Ayers. David Ayers, they took his movie away from him in post. The studio heads put their fingers in the cookie batter and ruined his movie. Same thing with Zack Snyder and Justice League. Um, if he'd have had his full vision, which we've seen Zack Snyder's Justice League, if that was his full vision and it was broken up into two movies like it was supposed to be, a part one and a part two, when they made the announcement for Justice League, that's why they spent 350 million on the movie, because it was two movies that he shot.
Was it announced as a part one and part two?
Yes, it was
Okay.
announced at Comic-Con as part one, part two.
I didn't,
Justice League part
I
one,
didn't see
part
that
two.
announcement. So,
Yeah, and so like if they'd have just stuck with his original vision, I guarantee things and look, Aquaman did $1 billion. That's a subpar character. No one cares about Aquaman, but they made him good.
yeah.
But that was Zack Snyder when he put him in Batman versus Superman. Because they were talking about metahumans
Oh,
and they
yeah.
showed him and they
Yeah.
cast him and I mean, dude, and then everything they did with him in Justice League. I mean, Jason Momoa is the pinnacle of Aquaman. But if they'd have just the problem with Warner Brothers is too many people with their fingers in the batter on a producer level that aren't creatives.
Yes.
That's been their Achilles heel. And the reverse has been the same during phase 4 when Marvel started getting they were getting away from the subject matter and letting directors do what they wanted, and they were going too far off range, which like with the Eternals and things like that weren't hitting with the audience.
Yeah.
So Disney has righted the ship. DC still not until 2025 can they
Well,
even
we'll have to
show us that
see.
they can make a good movie.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the Superman movie does and what that. I don't think I'm looking forward to the movie, but I don't even think that's going to make $1 billion. And depending on the budget, it should. If it's like more, if it's less than $200 million, it shouldn't need to hit a billion. But I do get everyone's complaints on certain things. I'm just more on like, well, I am more of a person wait and see type of guy, and like then I make my
Look, I'll
opinion.
be honest with you. There's so many characters in in this new Superman film
Yeah,
that it's crowded. It's absolutely crowded. And one of the things that they kept saying was, Superman, these movies need standalones first and then build to the universe. Well, one of the things that DC tried doing the first time was they said, well, let's put them all together. Let's get the Trinity together and then we'll branch off from there and make their single movies
which was
and
the
their
problem.
standalones, which is the problem. What's James Gunn doing? Oh,
The same
well,
thing.
he's doing the same thing. Let's smash a bunch of people in together, and then we're going to break them off and do all these other movies and cartoons and stuff with these characters. It's not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die on that hill.
But-
And I think the new Superman movie will top out at about 750 million or 780, just like every other successful DC film has ever done, because the audience doesn't care. You keep
Yeah.
switching the actors. Look at what they did. If they'd have brought in any other person for Deadpool Wolverine other than Hugh Jackman,
Hmm.
it may not have been as successful.
No, no, I agree. I think the reason why it's the most successful Deadpool film is because you brought Hugh Jackman, which was a whole entire different demographic, and
Well,
into the.
and not just that, they're consistent with the characters.
Well,
You
yeah,
look at,
well,
I mean, how out of 34 Marvel movies, they've never changed Tony Stark. They've never changed Captain America. They've only had one change, and that was Rhodey, because there was a
and
contract
you've only
negotiation
had one
problem.
Marvel universe,
You've
and
only had one, right? That, like, if they'd have just done it like that and copied their formula, they would be successful right
yeah,
now. But they keep trying to do the opposite of them because they don't want to be like them. We want to be our own thing.
you
Well,
can
that
be your own
formula
thing.
sucks.
Yeah, you can be your own
So
thing, but you have to take some things from other people to make things work because that's what people grasp onto.
make
And
it consistent.
I just never really liked Zack Snyder's films. I mean, like I enjoyed Man of Steel, never really liked Batman vs Superman, even the Ultimate Edition. I really don't like at all.
Well, the
Just
Ultimate Edition at least gave you more Clark Kent,
yeah. And
you know?
I like his director's cut of Justice League, but it's literally the same exact film of the theatrical cut, just better. So it's like I can't really give it that much
Well, yeah,
more
but
credit.
think of the hype if it was released and then left on that cliffhanger before the second 2 hours started,
Yeah.
you'd have two 2 hour movies, and
No. Yeah.
they would have made back the 350 million they invested for the two-part film.
No, for sure. And
But
I think
the fact that they lied and said that there wasn't enough footage to cut the movie together to make two movies, and that they just lied. Like Warner Brothers lied.
well
The CEOs lied.
that was a AT8 AT
They've always had bad upper
yeah,
management,
yeah.
bad people in control of the IPs. That's
That
Warner Brothers. That's their whole shtick. They just suck with it.
yeah, they just need to find someone that is real get that can run a whole entire company instead of
And
finding
James
these.
Gunn is not their DC guy. He's not Kevin Feige.
No, for
Not Kevin
sure.
Feige.
I
Because
mean,
you know what? No one cares about Creature Commandos cartoon. No one cares about that.
okay.
No
Yeah,
one cares about it.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, they don't care about that. And then no one's going to care after Superman comes out that they do the other characters in it and make that what's the force they're going to be, the uh uh because he's got so many damn characters in the movie.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And they're all going to branch off from there, and nobody asked for Guy Gaster, whatever, the Green Lantern guy. No one asked for the bowl cutted redheaded
No one's
guy.
character.
Nobody wanted that. No one wanted that,
Yeah.
right?
I like Superman's suit, but when I see the other suits, I'm like, those look bad. Like I don't like Green Lantern suits. I don't like a Hot Girl suit. So like I like Superman's suit, but everyone else's suits I really don't like. So there's like I agree with people on things. I think Nicholas Holt as why am I blank? I'm blanking a lot of names today. As as the villain of the film, I really like him as bald
Well,
guy.
no, I get
But
that, but like Crypto is going to be in it.
oh yeah, that's a
I
little
don't
weird.
care about a
Live action,
flying dog.
I don't either.
But because he did Rocket Raccoon, he thinks he can. And that last Guardians had that golden retriever in it that's Russian. Because of that, oh, I'm putting the dog in. And I don't think people care about crypto.
No, for sure.
Only the hardcore fit. The general audience is going to go, why is there a dog with a
Yeah,
cape
what
flying
why
around?
is there a
What
talking
is this going
dog?
on? Yeah. And then when you had Mr. Fantastic in scenes like trying to feed a dog that's flying in the
Yeah,
street, and he's like jumping and hopping and and then there's a shot of Superman like on his knee talking to a squirrel.
there was a shot of that. I didn't even see that
Yes.
picture.
Yeah, they brought a squirrel to set in a glass plexiglass. They set it down and they gave it a nut, and it's sitting upright, and he's bowed down and they're filming him. I don't want to see Superman talk to a squirrel. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
It's just not what I'm into. I'm not into that. Like
Yeah,
that kind of hokey. He's taking what he did with the Suicide Squad, which is hokey jokey comic book stuff. And that's what he's doing with his universe. And it's going to suck.
yeah. I see.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
I hate
see.
that we got off on a tangent,
No, no,
and we
it's
can
fine.
wrap it up, but I'm just saying, that this is just one of those
Now this is
things.
a whole different video.
Yeah,
Which
you
I'm
could chop
totally
it up. You could chop it up into a separate video if you wanted to. But but my point is, do a part one, part two. But my point is,
yeah,
I just don't James Gunn doesn't have it on the pulse. When Bryan Singer did his version of Superman, it was a direct sequel to Superman 2, the Christopher Reeve movie,
yeah.
which is why they use the music, which is why the opening credits look the same, which is why, he did a very good,
But
impression,
quality is
but
different.
but it wasn't the quality necessarily, it was the story. It
Mm.
was still just a land grab by Lex Luthor, which
Yeah,
was all he wanted to do in the first movie, was blow up California with the nuclear blast on the San Andreas fault, so he would own all the beachfront property because he bought up all the property on that, and then everyone would come to him for the real estate. So then what's he do in the new reboot
the same
with
thing.
Brandon Routh? He uses a crystal from Krypton to build a giant, new continent in the ocean that's going to spread and displace all the other continents, and then people would be coming to him for land.
Yeah.
Another real estate scheme. That's what you came up with, Bryan Singer. It was the story was bad. And so when Zack Snyder tried to do something different, but with, I mean, look at the motivation Lex Luthor had in Batman versus Superman.
It was different. Yeah, it
It was
was.
because he could see them becoming gods,
Yeah.
and he didn't want anyone. He wasn't after real estate. He wasn't after crypto. He wasn't, I mean, crypto as in currency. Like there
Yeah.
was nothing that was driving him other than the psychotic fact that there are gods flying among us and we must take them down.
No,
That's
yeah.
a different take. People may not have liked that,
I just
but
didn't like that actor they picked. I found
yeah,
very.
I didn't like him either, but and I feel like, the studios said, look, we got to bring Doomsday into this,
Yeah, that was.
and they wanted to combine all the hits, the greatest hits of Superman, and put it in one movie. And again, I'm telling you, there's a foot on the scale at Warner Brothers, and they probably pushed to have that Doomsday in there.
Yeah.
That may not have been the full story on Batman versus Superman,
And
but
I think
you
the
know,
problem with so far with both of these different universes is that one was way too dark and the other one's probably going to be way too light. And they just need to figure out the balance of both. And that's the
yeah.
issue.
And you
And
know what the balance of both was? The Christopher Nolan films.
yeah,
That was the balance of both. If you'd have had Superman show up in Gotham, Chris Nolan's Gotham, which was really grounded in reality,
yeah,
for the most part, that would have been a dynamic people could have got behind. But because they reinvented the wheel, see, and this is the problem with Warner Brothers. I keep telling you, they keep changing the actors too soon, and that's why they're not successful.
they can't wait like 20 years. They have to do it now. And
And,
so
and people just can't get behind new Batmans, new Supermans, new this. I
and now
mean,
you and now you have like a what's it what are they doing? Like they have like different movies that are not even connected to the universe that
yes,
they're doing.
they're called Elseworlds.
Yes, Elseworlds. That's what it
And
was.
that's why they could have let, like, my thing was Warner Brothers should have just let Zack Snyder do movies for Elseworlds and let James Gunn have his timeline.
Hmm.
Just like they're letting Matt Reeves have his Batman movies
And the
and the
TV show.
Penguin,
Yeah.
right? They're letting him have his Elseworlds, and it's in the Elseworlds. It's not part of his thing. But then you're going to have a new Batman, Brave and Bold. So
Yeah.
then you're going to have
Three
Robert
different
Pattinson out there as
Batmans.
Batman. Then you're going to have this Batman coming up, and it's a mess. It's a
Yeah.
total mess. And if you've seen Peacemaker, That's Peacemaker, Suicide Squad. That is the universe. That's the
Yes.
comedy. That's the action. That's what we're getting.
Yeah. I think
And I think people aren't going to like it.
I like Peacemaker personally. I think the comedy worked for what that was, but you cannot make that everything. So like
It's going to be everything.
yeah, I know. Like that's the problem. Like it's like I'm trying to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt, but like I do see the problems that people would have with it and like understanding I completely understand. It's just
I mean,
like
I just you got to look at what his movies were prior to
yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy, and you got to remember where he came from. Trauma. He started doing trauma movies first, which
Scooby-Doo.
trauma is low budget, like Toxic Avenger. There's Lloyd Kaufman trauma movies. If you don't know what a trauma movie is, you should Google it and see what trauma movies are. And you'll see the low production, you'll see the slapstick comedy, you'll see the horror with comedy, you'll see the action with comedy. And that's all he knows. And
Yes,
the thing is, he makes movies that he wants to see,
not
not what
other.
the audience wants to see.
That's what George Lucas did with Star Wars, Phantom Menace.
But what did George Lucas do with the original trilogy? He let Irvin Kershner direct the sequel. He let Richard Marquand direct Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
Um, he's not opposed. He wasn't opposed. There were problems with the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and the other one,
Revenge. Yeah.
where he with the Directors Guild, which Spielberg wanted to do one, but he would have had to given up his Directors Guild membership to do one because of how they do the credits in the beginning with the crawl.
Mm.
Most movies have people's names popping up. That's standard Directors Guild stuff. If you
George doesn't
don't
do that. Yeah.
if you don't do a movie like that, you can't get around the DGA. It's a union thing.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
how credits are supposed to be on a film. And when you have a crawl and, you know, Galaxy Far, Far Away, Spielberg didn't want to give up DGA
That's
in order to do one.
that explains a lot more why Disney picks terrible directors. That makes a lot of sense when it comes to their Star Wars stuff. I'm just gonna crap on Disney for their
No.
stupid
Look,
decisions.
I think Bryce Dallas Howard is a great director,
Get her
and
to do the movies.
all her movies or all her episodes of The Mandalorian were fantastic,
Yeah.
and they should give her a movie.
I don't know why they're
Um,
giving this random chick that, that's going on interviews saying like, "Oh, it's the first woman to direct a Star Wars movie." It's like, shut up. Why are you talking crap like this? Like
oh
that.
yeah, it's yeah. It's I don't know what they're thinking. I can't even wrap my head around half the stuff they're thinking at Lucasfilm anymore. I just don't. I'm a big cheerleader for him, and I hope they right the ship. It looks like Disney's taking
Did you
a turn for the good and righting
yeah.
the ship, and I
Have you
hope that
jumped off
Star
the
Wars does the same.
Kathleen train? Have you finally
No, I
jumped?
am still
Oh,
a
okay.
huge supporter of Kathleen Kennedy. Um, all of her movies collectively have made $11 billion, not Star Wars films, but I mean, producer on Schindler's List,
She was part of
Jurassic
X-Men,
Park.
wasn't she?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
so like for me, she's done such good work on ET. I mean, so many movies
I just
that
don't think she knows how to run a company. I think that's the issue.
some people can't multitask with
Yeah.
multiple she's good when she's doing one project and she's solely focused on that movie from beginning to end. When you've got multiple things going on and you're hoping Filoni's telling people the right stuff. I mean, I'm cringing when I'm hearing Filoni thought The Acolyte was great,
Yeah, no,
and I'm going, what?
like that's where Kathleen Kennedy needs to step in and control her like people like Dave Filoni, Leslie Headland. Like you cannot be going on interviews saying this type of stuff. Even you have to even get onto the actor, like the actor for the Acolyte. She
Oh,
went on.
who didn't know what Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star?
Well, that too, yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, you can't. Even Daphne Keene is sitting right there. Look, Daphne Keene.
She's saying tell him to shut
There,
up.
there was a picture that floated around the other day of Daphne Keene on social media in Jedi robes when she was like 8 years old, but
Yeah,
that she wore for Halloween. She's always been a Star Wars fan. That's why she was like trying to tell him to shut up in that interview, because
I
they
like
they were going to roast him for that, and she knew it, and they
yeah.
did, and they roasted him for weeks. And that just adds
I
to
would
the
I
fuel of, hey, they don't know what they're doing
yeah.
because they're hiring people that don't know the subject matter,
Or
you
not at
know?
least controlling what's being put out there, like it's being
Right.
said. It's like, I would have gave the dude a benefit of the doubt saying, like, you can misspoke by accident one time, but then he doubled down on it, which made it worse.
Yes,
And
he could have
so,
just went, "Oh wait," and somebody could have said that was Luke in the
yeah,
interview. No one jumped in that.
no, yeah.
So he hung himself again.
Like in my,
You
if you
know,
go back and watch my Deadpool review, when I was talking about, like, the director of this film, doing another film, I went like, the fall guy. Yeah, no, wait, sorry, no, that's a different Ryan. My bad. Like, so like you have to catch yourself on what you're
catch yourself.
saying,
Yes.
but no
And the
one,
thing, I can give people an press junket a pass because they sit there in those chairs for 12 hours, and every 5 minutes a new set of reporters comes in, and it's a press junket. Harrison Ford hates press junkets. He's even been on the record as saying he hates press junkets because you're literally answering the same questions over and over again. How did you like playing Indiana Jones?
yeah,
I love playing. What's your favorite thing about Indiana Jones? What's about, and then the responses become
wouldn't.
just copycat,
Yeah,
like it's the same recycled like things he's saying over and over again. And I could see an actor getting tripped up like 9 hours in, and then confusing Anakin for
or
who
Luke.
blew up the Death Star
Yeah,
for Luke. I could see that happening
once.
once.
Yes.
Right.
And like someone
Okay.
telling you, like, hey, you said Anakin really was Luke, and like, maybe he was told that, but then he went back again and said it, and so it's like,
You got to get people that love the subject matter and truly respect it. And that's where again they've
like
had
Deadpool,
problems
Wolverine with,
but
yeah,
some of the Marvel movies too, you'll hear an actor say, "Well, I was," or like Peacemaker. James Gunn told what's his name who plays Peacemaker,
John Cena.
John Cena. He said, "Don't
Yeah,
read any of the comics because I'm not writing the guy this way." So you're telling a guy like who's got lots of subject matter he could reference, and you'll even hear other Marvel people say, "Oh, I didn't read any of the comics," because they'll always ask him in a press junket, "Did you read the comics when you grew up?" "No, I never read the X-Men." "And what
yeah,
did you do research?" It's like, you know, I didn't because the director wanted me to bring my perspective to it. No, that was wrong answer. Wrong answer. You
yeah,
don't do that. You
yeah,
get somebody that loves the subject matter. That's why Henry Cavill with The Witcher had to bounce, because he was like, you're screwing this up.
yeah,
Like something as simple as a chandelier. He knew from the games or from the story that that chandelier has meaning, but the writer sitting next to him didn't know what the chandelier meant because the writer wasn't invested in the subject, the IP. And that's why he was like, I'm done. I'm bouncing out of this because you're not respecting the IP.
yeah.
You've
Halo,
got to find people.
Lo-
Halo, same thing. As soon as
Lord of
you
the
take the
Rings.
helm, as soon as you take the helmet off the sergeant, right? You lost the show.
Yeah. I mean, like
Never should have had the helmet on.
I could deal with the helmet being taken off, but there was like a lot of
Or
other
Master
stuff.
Chief, the Master Chief. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Like,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of other stuff that was going on that was like, okay, well, that's dumb. Like, why would you do that? But no, I
But when you
get,
but
yeah,
when you look at the most successful stuff, like Deadpool versus Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds just embraced the comic books to a T. And
yeah,
now they write those comic books with him in mind, with the witty writing and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. It's just now, it's just part of the writing
it's
because it's in their heads now.
yeah, just like when they started doing uh uh the comic book for Nick Fury, they made it look like Nick Fury didn't look like Sam Jackson. Now the comic books they draw him like Sam Jackson. I
Oh,
mean, that's
yeah.
but even Sam Jackson knew who Nick Fury was. He was a
I'm
comic book fan. There's
I'm
a lot of
curious.
people that grew up on, remember, we people that are our age, like I'm 49, I'm 49, Ryan Reynolds is 47. We grew up when there wasn't social media. We grew up when there wasn't video games. We had to go to an arcade to play a video game when I was 8.
Yeah,
We didn't, we had ColecoVision and Atari 2600. And if you had a Atari 2600, you had money. But
yeah,
if you didn't, you put quarters in a machine at an arcade. And so we had comic books. We had the physical things. That's what we had. We
yeah.
didn't
And actually
have,
point it out whenever something
yeah,
comes out. And like, I got made fun of when it came, the Last of Us show came out. And next, when there was a episode that took place in the day, but really in the game, it took place at night. I spent like a good chunk of in my review pointing out how much better in the game it was at night than during the day. And people were like, wow, you spent a lot of time on that. It's like, well, I'm just pointing out the difference and what actually
right.
worked. And
Yeah,
so, and it's like, in the finale where it was so easy for Joel going around killing these people in the game, it was struggling to kill those people. Like I died so many times. You should have really dived into that of how much Joel had to actually go and kill people. So, and next they left out a lot of the zombie stuff. So no, I get it. Like there's like
yeah,
definitely stuff like you have to respect or at least put more effort into. And
sure,
so, but I think one thing that people forget is like the MCU doesn't follow the comic books at all. But the one thing that they do is take some form of elements to give you the, I wouldn't say illusion, but the feel of some
the
of
feeling,
those characters that would be
right.
in the comics. But yeah, this turned into a completely different video at the end.
Hey
But
man,
yeah,
you've got like 2 hours. You could probably
I
do
pro
1 hour, release an hour, and release part one and part two, and then you got some stuff there. So
yeah.
hey,
Um
I've had a great time as usual.
yeah. Well,
So
what would you give the movie?
Deadpool and Wolverine on a scale of what? You 1 to 10 or 5 stars? Like what do you
You can do whatever you like normally do. You can do numbers, letters, however you feel.
on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm gonna say this is an 8.9.
Okay. No,
Where like for me, Avengers Endgame is a 10.
yes. Okay. I gave
Okay, 8.9. It's almost a 9.
yeah, that's almost like an A. So like really like a
Yeah,
B plus. Yeah.
yeah,
I gave it like I gave it an A minus. I really liked it, but what was holding back was some story elements and and again, it's like when you really start thinking about it. And
yeah.
so
And then the Deadpool army fight, you
yeah.
know. Yeah.
I really like this movie a lot. If you guys sat through this whole entire video and did not see the movie, what's wrong with
What's wrong with you?
But like you guys need to go out there and see it. Or just don't go. I already know this is probably don't bother going to see Borderlands. I don't think that movie it looks good just from the trailers, but I'm seeing it at the time of
I
recording this. I'm just going to go see it tonight.
Look, I
So
would say go see Borderlands, support the film industry, go see it, check your mind at the door, get popcorn, get your candy, sit back and just tap out for 2 hours of this crazy world we live in and
let's
enjoy an escape. And that's what I would say for
support good
Borderlands.
movies. The thing is, I more like the problem is like whenever a bad movie makes more money, I see it of like, "Ah, they're gonna make another movie of that, and it's not gonna be good." And so it's like I try to really be that person. Like you need to go support this movie because then we can get more movies of this or movies
Well,
like
yeah,
this.
but like people will not like Borderlands, people will not, they'll stay away from doing video game type things if people don't, if the appetite's not there. So I would say support it. Just go check your brain at the door. It may turn out pretty good.
No, that's the one thing. It might be the trailer was put together awfully, and the movie's actually better than it was. Because that's the one thing. It's like I like Gran Turismo that came out last year, and I was like the one thing I said over and over is like whoever put the marketing, like the marketing team sucked.
Failed, failed.
Like they were,
And I'm interested to see what your review is going to be of Borderlands.
yeah. It might be the truth to the trailer. It might be the trailer was wrong. So well, I don't know. We'll have to see. And
We'll
I'll
have
be
to
seeing
see.
right the Blake Lively movie too. So we'll see who does better. Maybe this will cause them to get a divorce. Um,
No, it won't. They're having a
no,
lot of fun with it
no,
too.
yeah,
Yeah. And so yeah, it ends with us.
yes, perfect way to conclude the video. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like always, we'll see you. Guys, go check out his channel. Link in the description below. Go. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys next review. Bye, guys.